culture, tourism, of the most beautiful landscape of this region.
It gives me immense pride and pleasure to bring to your notice that we had a very fruitful day one of our IndiGlobal Bharat Summit yesterday. It was filled with a lot of exciting panels and discussions given by various eminent dignitaries all across the country. The panels, we had discussions on various backgrounds of healthcare, skill development, various leaders from all these backgrounds joined us for the summit. We were also joined us by our Honorable Minister for Public Health, Engineering, Skill Employment and Entrepreneurship and Tourism Department, Shri Jayanta Molla Borwa sir.
Today for the day two, we have lined up a lot of interesting sessions for you students. So please sit back, relax, and please do not hesitate. If you have any queries, please put forward. Thank you.
We would be starting with our first session shortly. So kindly sit back and relax. Thank you and have a great day ahead.
Thank you very much, everyone, for joining here. So we'll start now. The first speaker, a special guest who's joining us from all the way from Hyderabad, Telangana, virtually. He's a pioneer in emergency medicine, and currently he's also a cancer survivor and also an author for the book called I Am Possible, Breaking Impossible. He is the president for Apollo Hospital Group, which is looking forward towards Assam and also northeastern states as their destination for expansion and investments in the healthcare sector. So please join me in welcoming Dr. K. Hari Prasad. He is President, Apollo Hospital Division. I would request my team to please bring on Dr. K. Hari Prasad, President, Apollo Hospitals. A very good morning, Dr. Hari.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. So here we are in this Guwahati, Assam, in IIT Guwahati, and we have with us our guests on the audience and other officials on the in the audience. We would like to hear from you what would be the role of Apollo Hospitals towards the growth and progress of Assam and other northeastern states, and also your experience, the kind of skill that is needed in the emergency medicine and healthcare sector. Over to you, sir.
Good morning, and I'd like to thank IndiGlobal and the organizers for giving me this opportunity. I'm actually feeling jealous because you're sitting in the best part of the country, one of the best parts of the country. I love the Northeast and would have loved to be there, but for my engagements, I could not be there. I travel quite often to Guwahati, and I love the place, and it's a beautiful part of the country, and you're all lucky to be there. So first thing is, enjoy your presence there, enjoy yourselves, and have a lots of fun. As you're aware, Apollo is amongst the largest integrated healthcare provider group in Asia, and one of the regions which contributed to Apollo becoming what it is today is the Northeast. Even today, in our flagship hospital in Chennai, about 25 to 30% of the patients come from the east and the northeast. So the bondage between Apollo hospitals and northeast has been very, very strong over the years, over the last 40 years, and the bondage continues. So we thought that we should get closer to the people who love us so much. So it started off with Bhubaneswar, then Calcutta, and now we have two facilities in Guwahati itself, the International Hospital and Excel Care Hospital, both of which are extremely good tertiary care centers located in Ahmedabad, in Guwahati. So we are gradually moving closer and closer to the people of Northeast, and we hope to go further up into the lovelier part of Northeast once things settle down, the elections are done, and once things settle down and we get the right opportunity. Now, health is universal. People living in every part of the world need and deserve the best of healthcare, and people from the Northeast are no different. One of the most critical aspects of healthcare is access, both geographic access and financial access. Now, geographical access was a challenge for Northeast because it was not really easy to travel from Northeast to the rest of the country a decade ago, or from the rest of the country to the Northeast. But now, with improved connectivity, both road and air connectivity, travel has become simpler, and geographic access to the Northeast has become that much more easier. That is the first step in enhancing the quality of care in the Northeast. And the second is the financial access. Quality healthcare always costs money. Nothing comes free, and it costs money. It is a matter of debate as to who will pay for it. The governments may pay for it, insurance companies may pay for it, you may pay for it out of your pocket, but at the end of the day, somebody has to pay for it. So financial access is the next important component of it, and a lot of thought has gone into it, with many of the governments coming forward, the union government coming forward with one of the largest insurance schemes in the world, social insurance scheme in the world, that's the Ayushman Bharat. The state governments are coming up with their own schemes, some adopting Ayushman Bharat, some adopting their own schemes. But ultimately, social insurance is becoming a reality in the country. But the success of any of these initiatives depends on a win-win situation for all the stakeholders. The stakeholders in healthcare are first the community and the patients. The second are the providers. The third is the people working in the hospitals, whether it's a doctor, a nurse, a technician, whoever it is. That is the third stakeholder. And fourth stakeholder is the payer, which could be the government, the insurance company, or the institution where the employees are paid for by the employers. So there are these four stakeholders, and any program is going to be successful only when all the goals of all the stakeholders are aligned, and there's a win-win situation for all the stakeholders. Right now, with Ayushman Bharat and some of the state schemes being just introduced, I think the process of alignment is still happening, and it will take a little while before all the stakeholders become aligned to it and find value in what they're doing. So I think it is important that we stick with these schemes and make sure that they reach the ultimate goal of providing health for all, or universal health coverage. That is critical, and we are moving in the right direction. The second stakeholder is the important point I wanted to discuss about was the importance of preventive health care. Now, irrespective of what it is, how rich a country is, no country in the world can afford to treat all the illness that occurs in the country. So it is very important that we prevent illness. Almost 80% of the deaths it's predicted will happen due to non-communicable diseases like cancers, heart attacks, strokes, accidents, and stuff like this. And all these are preventable or at least controllable diseases. So it is very important that we all pay attention towards the preventable aspect of healthcare. Now, I'm sure you have read in the news that youngsters, 30 years old, 40 years old, fit youngsters are just dropping dead. So this is not a new phenomenon, it is just being highlighted at this point of time. So please make sure that you spend enough time on yourselves in terms of healthcare. Some of the things which you definitely need to do is, make sure that you are taking care of yourself, make sure you get adequate sleep, make sure you're eating the right diet and say no to junk diet. Don't get into habits like smoking. Smoking is one of the most, and tobacco chewing are one of the most leading causes of cancer. So avoid them, exercise regularly, and most importantly, have your health check at regular intervals depending on the age. Now all these will help you to prevent serious illness and hospitalization. Hospitalization and serious illness is one of the biggest cause for rural indebtedness in this country. It is pushing people from middle class into below poverty line and below poverty line patients into very bad and dire states. So we should do everything possible to avoid such a situation by making sure that we give preventive healthcare the importance that it deserves, one. And second, making sure that you are adequately covered in case of a disease occurs. Whether it is insurance, whatever may be the scheme, you need to have enough coverage to take care of you if a disease does occur. I always give a very simple example. I'm sure all of you have a motorcycle at least, or a car, or any four-wheeler or two-wheeler. You are not allowed to bring the two-wheeler or four-wheeler onto the road without an insurance for a two-wheeler or four-wheeler. It is illegal. And the guy who is giving you the vehicle, selling the vehicle, actually insures the vehicle before he gives it to you. And in case of an accident, your two-wheeler can be repaired with the money that you get from the insurance, but you will not be covered for the injuries that you sustain when you are driving a two-wheeler or a four-wheeler. So that is a very, very big irony in the country. So make sure that you spend enough amount of focus and time in getting yourself adequate coverage in terms of health insurance, be whatever the scheme. And even if you are covered, I think what you should be able to do is there are a lot of schemes which provide you top-up coverage, which you should be able to take by yourself and make sure that the coverage levels are adequate and you make sure that the amount you are covered for is sufficient even for a serious illness. The next stakeholder is the employees. Now, we used to see in the initial part of my career, at least I used to see many of them, almost not many, most of the nurses coming out of Kerala. Now we are beginning to see a lot more of the health force coming in from the Northeast. I think Northeast has got a great population which is capable of supplying workforce not just to the healthcare industry in the country, but across the world. And one of the huge advantages for Northeast, especially in Meghalaya and other places, is their ability to speak English. So skill development is a very important aspect for Northeast, and I think the government of India is giving a lot of importance to it, and you must take advantage of it. And I will not be surprised if I see that the majority of healthcare providers coming out of the Northeast and serving the rest of the country. Now, when you look into the future of healthcare, technology is going to play a big role, whether it is in the form of connecting with the people, the providers with the people, in the form of telemedicine. We now have tele-ICU, tele-emergency. So all the services are like telepathology, teleradiology. So technology is actually connecting specialists in remote areas with people and making sure that the distances are bridged, and we do not have to have the really skilled and high-end professionals at every place in the country. And we probably have the largest network of teleconsultations in the country, and we've been able to serve a lot of people in the Northeast, and we are only looking at enhancing the technological availability in providing care to the people in the Northeast. The next part of the technology is which improves care. Now we are able to diagnose diseases much earlier. We are able to treat diseases much easier, and the outcomes are much better. And one of the reasons for this is, apart from improving human skill, it is the technology. For example, if you take a robotic surgery, we used to see days when people used to, for an appendix, which is probably most of you would know about, for acute appendicitis, there used to be a scar on the abdomen. They used to open up the abdomen and then take the appendix out. Then we moved ahead and moved into minimally invasive surgery, which is laparoscopic surgery, where there are 3 or 4 holes made in the abdomen and the appendix comes out, and the patient could go home in 2 or 3 days. Today we have access to robotic surgery, where you come in the morning, get your appendix removed, and go back home in the evening, and probably back to work the next day. So technology is actually revolutionizing both the diagnosis of disease and also the treatment of disease, and making it quicker, faster, safer, and better. So the next part of technological utilization is in your hands. You need to embrace technology and make sure that you leverage technology. Last week I was at Manipal Institute of Technology to talk to their healthcare management and international business trainees. And one of the questions which came up was, will technology replace human resources? Will it bring down the need for human resources? That was a question which came up from the trainees, and my answer was very simple. Technology is never going to replace human requirement, at least in healthcare. Technology is only going to enhance the skills of the hands behind the technology. Technology is only going to make it safer for the patient. Technology is only going to improve outcomes for the patient, but the people behind the machine are always required and are always going to remain. And only thing will be that they would need to embrace technology, and they would need to know how to use the technology. So be prepared to embrace technology. Don't be scared of technology. Embrace technology. Learn the skills of newer technology, and be prepared for change. This is a little bit of the future, into the future, and I think it is very, very important for all of you to spend enough time on understanding the latest developments in technology and how they would aid healthcare, or for that matter, any other sector, in improving and enhancing the output that comes in that particular sector. With that, I will stop there, and if there are any questions, I will be happy to take. Over to the organizers.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hari, for putting forward the kind of skills and the advantage that northeastern states has, as you mentioned about the kind of English that the students and youth have, that is one of the advantage, and the kind of workforce has a great potential towards employment, and also the whole of India is looking at towards Northeast to be the next destination. We would also like to know, Dr. Hari, like what would be the vision of Apollo Hospital Group towards Assam and other northeastern states?
As I mentioned during my initial remarks, we are already present in Assam with two hospitals. One is Apollo International Hospital, bang in the center of the city, and the latest one is Apollo Excel Care Hospital. And both these hospitals are high-end tertiary care hospitals. We are now in the process of expanding the international hospital. We've got site behind it. So right now we are in the process of expanding and upgrading the international hospital. But our intention doesn't end there. We have a lot of telemedicine and technological connection with further northeast, like Shillong and any of Meghalaya, Tripura, Nagaland, and all these places. And probably we would look at opportunities for setting up physical facilities in other towns and cities in the northeast once the opportunity presents. But as I said, it is not just about the walls and the machines, it is about the people. So I think the skill upgradation of the people of the Northeast is a very, very important factor. Once there are skills, I think the rest of the things will fall into place. Now that the connectivity is improved significantly, the living conditions have improved significantly. I think it is the skills which matter. And once the skills improve, I think there's nothing to stop the Northeast from becoming a healthcare destination, particularly because of its beautiful locations and the wonderful way a person can spend time in the Northeast.
Thank you so much, Dr. Hari, for making it and taking us through the vision of Apollo Hospitals. We are looking forward the kind of plans that Apollo Hospital Group has for Assam and other northeastern states. It rolls out and it shows the result at the earliest. Thank you so much for joining us for this 2-day Mega IndiGlobal Bharat Summit in IIT Guwahati.
It's my pleasure. Thank you very much and all the very best to everybody.
Thank you. Thank you. A round of applause for our speaker, Dr. K. Hari Prasad, an author for the book Impossible, a cancer survivor and a pioneer in the emergency medicine. So with this, now we will move forward to our next and one of the important panel discussion, and we have two very important speakers who have joined us, and for this we have a very senior bureaucrat. She's known for several transforming initiatives with the state government of Maharashtra earlier. Now she is the Special Director for Lal Bahadur Shastri National Academy of Administration, Mussoorie, Uttarakhand, where all the IS officers get trained and get their initial training from. Please join me in welcoming Ms. Radhika Rastogi, Special Director, Lal Bahadur Shastri National Academy of Administration. A huge round of applause. Also, we are joined by a young dynamic bureaucrat who has become quite popular for her role to going on the ground and looking into it, to see to it that the emergency and disaster management is taken care of on the ground during the floods recently in Assam. Join me in welcoming Ms. Kirti Jalli, Deputy Commissioner, Kamrup District, Assam. A huge round of applause for this young, dynamic IAS officer. We are also joined by yet another officer, all the way from Madhya Pradesh. He has headed several departments related to education, skill, industry, and commerce. And currently, he is serving as the Secretary for Medium, Small, and Micro Enterprise and Industry with Government of Madhya Pradesh. Please join me in welcoming Shri P. Narahari, Secretary, MSME Department of Madhya Pradesh. He will be joining us virtually. So we are also joined by, thanks for joining us, Mr. Narahari. And on the stage we have Radhika Rastogi Madam, who is the Special Director, Lal Bahadur Shastri National Academy of Administration, and also Ms. Kirti Jalli, Deputy Commissioner, Kamrup District, Assam. So now I would request Radhika Rastogi ma'am to chair this session with all her rich experience in Maharashtra, now serving for Lal Bahadur Shastri National Academy, where all the IAS officers are trained and they learn the initial teaching and the training out there. We would wanted you to take us through, and also the audience out here, through the changing face of governance and how technology is playing its role, and sustainable development goals and socio-economic development and the rural landscape, how it is transforming. Over to you, ma'am.
Good morning, everyone. Maybe I will stand so it's easier to interact. Bureaucracy and its role has undergone a lot of change. In fact, even within my own career of 27 years, I can see a lot of change. And initially, even the kind of training which was given, when I went to LBS NAA, it was all about, learn about the rules, learn about procedures, stick to the rules, go by the procedure. And if you follow it, nothing will happen to you. But now, things have changed, because most of the times, the rules are not updated as fast as they should be. The environment is changing for various reasons. The situation which a bureaucrat has to face cannot be taught in a classroom. Each experience is different, each situation is unique, and no standing operating procedure can actually encompass these entire scenarios. And therefore, under the new mission Karma Yogi, what we emphasize is rules are important, but they're not everything. Rules will be there, but it is for us to play our role as a facilitator, as a development administrator, as a regulator, and ensure that we are able to deliver on the goals, on whatever the situation demands from us. So if rules need to be changed, then so be it. If we need a new policy that has to be put in place, so be it. So the entire emphasis has changed. And by and large, how many of you want to get into the civil services? Let me know first. Only one? Ah, not a very happy sign. Okay, very few of you. So, what do you all want to become? So, let me understand that. If somebody can, take a mic into the audience. Or you can just, speak aloud, I can hear. What would you like to become? Because if there are only 7 to 8...
You can raise your hands in the audience who have the question.
Good morning, ma'am.
Morning.
I'm from NESC. My name is Mriganki Kevara. I want to join Indian Army.
Indian Army. Excellent.
I'm
Excellent.
also NCC cadet also.
Oh, great. Lovely.
I got my C certificate with alpha grading, 95%. but because of some medical problem, I can't join defense. But I will try in Assam Police.
Oh,
SI.
great. You can join the IPS, Indian Police Service.
Yes, ma'am. I will join SSC also if I
Yeah.
can.
Sure.
That's it, ma'am.
Okay. Others?
Thank you, ma'am.
Those who don't want to join the civil services. Yes, please. You can just say it aloud.
Hello.
Good morning, ma'am.
Morning.
My name is Anorana Bordoloy. I am from Kamrup College. I want to become an IS officer.
Okay.
So, how can it will be become an IS officer?
Okay. Fine. Because not many raise their hands for the civils. How many of you want to say go into the hospitality industry or become a chef? Anybody who here wants to be a chef? No. Yeah, there's one. Okay. IT? How many kids want to get into IT? You need to respond, otherwise I won't get a feel of what is it you would like to hear. No one into the IT? Engineering? Broadly, all streams. No, you're not responding, that means. Medicine? Wow. Okay. Films? Fashion industry? Textiles? No? No, I think unless we ask each and everyone, fine, then I'll have to speak in a general way. But by and large, okay, one from, good. So the number of options that are available to you are many. But by and large, and each sector is doing well. Yesterday you heard, right? Some of them are taking home a salary in crores of rupees, not from the civil service. Civil services don't pay you like that. And by and large, every sector forces you to be competitive, and so does the civil services. We come through a very competitive exam, right? More than 15 lakh people write, and then a handful, some 800, 500 people actually join every year. So we are forced to be competitive right from a very young age. But for us to be effective administrators, we need to learn to collaborate, which is very difficult, because all along we have been taught to walk alone, right? Fight alone. Don't share your stuff with others. You should be the first, right? The best. So that doesn't actually promote a conducive atmosphere or promote collaborative spirit. So what the Honorable Prime Minister also felt was the bureaucracy, people are not willing to work together. A lot of competition. Everybody wants to be recognized in their own right and not as a team. So he called for de-siloization of the civil services, which is one of the founding principles of Mission Karma Yogi, that we should join hands with everybody, not just within the government, but also outside the government, again which the Honorable Prime Minister calls Jana Bhagidari. So these are the values which we are trying to inculcate in the young civil servants who come to Mussoorie for their training. And this is how I would say, the role of bureaucracy is changing. Earlier, everything was with the government. Now you see a whole lot of stuff is outside government. Earlier, if you need a telephone connection, you would have to go to the telephone department. Now, no, there are so many private operators and everybody prefers the private operator. So how do you deal with it? So several organs of the government, several organizations within government are becoming redundant and their role is undergoing a change. So we are more of a facilitator, and you will see a whole lot of collectivization happening under various schemes of government. Earlier, it was like, we give subsidies, we give some benefits. So it is somebody is giving and the people are recipients. We don't see that anymore. Here it's more of working together. You will see farmer-producer companies, self-help groups of women, right? Have you heard of self-help groups? Yes or no? Have you heard of farmer producer companies? Clusters of industries? So all these are small farmers, small and micro enterprises, individual women who are not very well off, who are coming together, forming groups, and then deciding what kind of economic activity or livelihoods they want to pursue. So it is not somebody telling them, you do this, we have this, so we'll give you this. No. They are deciding for themselves, and government only acts as a facilitator. And in everything, there's a lot of consultative process. If you see now, most of the policies of the government, before they become policies, they are displayed on the portals of the respective departments or ministries. And opinion of the public is sought. Nothing is done in isolation. Unfortunately, not many people from the public actually participate in this dialogue. But yes, one or two do give their opinions, right? And these opinions are taken into account. Also, the interface, the bureaucratic interface with the people's representatives themselves interfacing with the people, this has increased a lot, right? It's not as though we can sit in our offices and then conduct administration. We have to understand the psyche of the people. What is it that you would want, and deliver on those aspirations, right? It is the people's aspirations which form the foundation for governance and not otherwise. And if we were to talk of rural India, I would say these self-help groups, farmer producer companies, collectives, they are changing the face, the way we are administering, the way we are governing. So it's no more top-down. If you actually see, by and large, like, you know, media is different. There's agriculture department, animal husbandry department, there's an industries department, there's an education department. So a whole lot of verticals are there in government which deliver services, right? That's what we have seen all these days. But now you will see there are groups of women who are taking over the jobs of government, because many times maybe the frontline workers like an agriculture assistant or animal husbandry assistant, or sometimes even the teachers in the remote villages, they're not willing to go. And what happens? There's a vacancy. But the need for these services is there. The services are required to be delivered even in these areas. So how do we ensure that the services reach the general public? You will find in many places, in almost all the states of our country, you have Krishi Sakhis. Now what are Krishi Sakhis? These are women from within the village, part of the self-help groups, who are trained in various aspects of agriculture. You know, a particular crop, when should it be sown? What kind of pests may attack this crop? And what kind of, insecticides or pesticides do you need to use? What fertilizers need to be given? How much and when? So these women who are there 24/7 in the village, they are becoming the frontline workers. In fact, though the scheme did not envisage it that way, but the role these women are playing is immense. Similarly, you have Pashu Sakhis. And these women are trained in animal husbandry, goatery, poultry, piggery. So they are the ones who are attending. They are there 24/7 in the village and providing the services. They are even promoting these sectors, right? You have Patrakar Didis in Jharkhand. Now what the Patrakar Didis are doing, like say young girls like you, maybe your mother is a member of a self-help group. So you will tweet about the self-help group's activities, what is it that they are doing, what kind of products are available, what kind of services can be given by these self-help groups, right? And under the Prime Minister Awas Yojana, earlier there's a Mason training scheme, and it would be entirely men. Masonry has been traditionally a male domain. But now, in Bihar, Jharkhand, you will find Rani Mistris, not Raja Mistris. So they themselves have come forward. There are aspirations. So it is for the government to react to these aspirations. People are becoming more vocal. They are talking about, so the Rani Mistris, They tell with pride, you know, we understand what kind of a house the woman requires, right? If I have to construct a kitchen platform, if it's a male mason, he will just do a standard platform. But I look at the height of the woman, right? The lady of the house. So depending on her house, I will adjust the height of the kitchen platform. See? Small things, but they make a world of difference for any of us who have cooked. If the platform is very high, it's so difficult. It will create all kinds of back issues, right? So many, the face of rural India is changing because people are mobilizing themselves into collectives. People are deciding for themselves, and many of these women are also maintaining roads, rural roads. The contracts are given in Kerala, Madhya Pradesh, Bihar. If you go to Bihar, you will find in all the government hospitals, the catering has been given to these self-help groups. Didi ki rasoi, you know, very good food. It's not like regular commercial business kind of food which you get. Because by and large, if you see any canteen anywhere, be it in an educational institution, be it a hospital or whatever, they don't taste as good, right? But you go to Didi ki rasoi, the taste is very different. It's like home-cooked food, right? And freshly made. So there's a difference in the way government is approaching various problems of the community, the society, and I think there's a lot of difference. It can only happen because now people are getting involved. See, it can't be like one is a giver and another is a taker. It's a partnership. And that partnership is becoming more and more active with every passing day. We have bank sakhis. So there may be many women or men in the rural areas who have never been to a bank. Or they're too old to go and, you know, conduct their businesses. So the bank sakhi, if there's an old age pension that the lady is supposed to get, she will deliver at her doorstep. So I would say, when we say minimum government and maximum governance, you can't create for every village all these frontline workers. But you can have these frontline activists from within the community who are making this service delivery possible. So all of you can, in fact, see how the service delivery mechanism has changed. It is not that you have to be a government appointee to be able to do something worthwhile. You can be part of the community, you can be wherever you are, but you can reach out. Similarly, industries cluster, I am sure Mr. Narahari will elaborate on that. There are many clusters. In fact, in Maharashtra, if I were to say, the first cluster was a cluster of farmers. Now, these farmers, they were growing grapes. And grapes is such a crop, if before harvest there should be a rain, then there will be spots on the grapes and they are not accepted in the local market. So you just have to throw them away. And these farmers came together, and under the cluster development scheme, there's a component where they'll say, the government will give 80%, you have to contribute 20%. You can go anywhere in the world also by doing that. And then see how they conduct their business. So this group of farmers went to Turkey. And then they saw the way they were making raisins out of these grapes, and how even the third quality grapes, if you sort them out, there's a market for every grade of grape. So you just have to reach out to the market. So they came back, took the infrastructure component from the government, and they set up a facility just like what they saw in Turkey. And then they started aseptic grading, sorting, packaging. And they found that even if these third grade grapes are their raisins, they have a market in Saudi Arabia, Dubai, and all these places. So now, from farmers who were at the mercy of climate, they have become exporters. They have become industrialists. So it's up to you. How do you find a way out? Maybe if you just stay where you are, you may not find. Look around you, travel, and study, research about each sector. Then maybe you'll find several options that are open. And as civil servants, as development administrators, this is what we are trying to do. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. A round of applause for Radhika Rastogi, madam. Now, I would request our guest from Madhya Pradesh, yet another bureaucrat, senior who's headed several departments including education and skill, industry and commerce, and now as the secretary for MSME department, government of Madhya Pradesh. Over to you, sir. We would like to hear from you how is the face of governance changing, and what are the best practices and innovations towards skill development and employment, ultimately leading to the growth and progress of the region. Over to you.
Very good morning to everybody. Hope I'm audible.
Yes, sir.
Respected Radhika Rastogi ma'am, Ms. Kirti Jalli, and the organizers of IndiGlobal Bharat Summit 2023, and all those who are present in the auditorium at Guwahati. Thank you so much for inviting me to this prestigious summit and giving me an opportunity to express my views. I think it's a great opportunity for the youngsters to understand what governments are doing, and for the budding bureaucrats to understand in which direction is the government trying to do several such activities which are very, very important for the youngsters. And as ma'am has rightly mentioned, there is a lot of change which is happening in the governments. There is a huge leap that we are trying to take as far as governance is concerned. And I would like to mention that in the field of entrepreneurship, self-employment, government of Madhya Pradesh is doing many things, and we are following the footsteps of government of India in this particular field. I would like to mention here that this is an era of self-employment and startups. And as you are all aware, Government of India has taken a wonderful initiative called Startup India program a few years back. And we are now the world's third largest startup ecosystem in the world. And in a small span of 7 years, we have been able to establish more than 85,000 startups in our country. And gone are those days. And I would like to tell the youngsters sitting here that it used to take 50 years, it used to take 100 years for a company to begin and establish themselves into a 1,000 crore company or a 10,000 crore company. Now it merely takes 4 years to 5 years for a startup to become a unicorn. That is the pace at which our economy is growing. That is the pace at which governments are supporting all those startups and budding entrepreneurs to actually, right from their nascent stage till they become a unicorn. At every stage of a startup and an MSME, the state governments and the government of India is immensely contributing to ensure our startups, our MSMEs, our entrepreneurs actually establish companies which are meaningful and which actually are able to create a change in the society. So I would request each one of you that whoever is interested in actually trying to start a startup or want to establish an MSME or a company or a small company, if you have the idea, if you have the innovation, and if you are able to design and make certain changes to the processes, and if you are able to design new ways of manufacturing, if you are able to design new ways of actually doing the same thing in such a way that it is either solving the societal problems or it is solving the requirements of the market, then your startup will definitely make an impact in the society. We in Madhya Pradesh have come up with our own startup policy, and in a small time of less than a year, we have been able to establish more than 2,750 startups in Madhya Pradesh, and 2 such startups are already on the verge of becoming unicorns. So my request to all of you is that this is the best time to understand, and this is the best time when you are in the college, try to sit in an incubation center, try to work it out with your teachers, with your friends as to what kind of innovation you can actually make. Entrepreneurship is the one thing that is actually going to guide our country for the in the coming 25 years. Honorable Prime Minister's vision of making India the largest economy in the world, or in a couple of years we want to become a $5 trillion economy. All these things are possible only our youngsters and those who have the will to actually make a change try to take up entrepreneurship. My request to you all is that this is the best time that each one of you should actually understand what governments are doing in this direction. Like we in Madhya Pradesh are actually giving a lot of such incentives for MSMEs, and a lot of those incentives are also given for startups and those incubation centers who are actually trying to support the startups. So I'm very hopeful that some organizations, institutions like IIT Guwahati or such prestigious institutions are definitely having incubation centers which needs to be nurtured, and the budding entrepreneurs needs to be given an opportunity. So my request to each one of you is to go and try to understand what exactly is happening in those incubation centers. And if you have an idea or an innovation, and if you are able to design certain processes, this is the best time. Why don't you actually register yourself as a startup on Startup India portal? Get recognized, try to get some seed funding, and try to develop into a startup company. So there are several such initiatives, whether in states or in Government of India. Today, Government of India's DPIIT department is making such immense efforts, and a lot of funding is done either through venture capital funds, angel investors, or alternative investment funds. Friends, this is the time we need to understand these terminologies and these ways of funding, because any such startup or any such innovation, any such company which has the will to go ahead need a lot of funding. In the initial stage or further at different levels of growth of a company, you need funding. And you need to understand where this investment can come from, whether governments can support, whether institutions can support, whether venture capitalists can support, or organizations like alternative investments funds can actually support you. So we in Madhya Pradesh have also onboarded alternative investment funds, and we are trying to see how the funds which are of private individuals who have come together and created such funds are able to invest in startups and incubation centers. Government of India's Fund of Funds is one of the most successful such program I would like to mention here, and they have been able to roll out more than 10,000 crores of funds for such startups. So this is a great opportunity at this point of time, and this is how Government of India and various state governments are making immense efforts for the ideas and innovations that our youngsters possess. So my request to all of you is try to understand, try to go and reach out to government institutions, reach out to such organizations which are trying to engage with lots of startups and incubation centers and MSMEs. I would also like to mention few international case studies also for your benefit and understanding how various governments across the world are actually boosting skill and entrepreneurship development and employment generation. The German government has developed a dual vocational training system that combines practical training in the workplace with theoretical education in vocational schools. The system has been successful in reducing youth unemployment and has helped to bridge the skill gap in the labor market. The system is now being adopted in other countries, including China and South Korea. The Chile government has launched the Startup Chile program in 2010 to attract innovative startups to the country. The program provides seed funding, mentorship, and networking opportunities to startups and has helped to create a thriving startup ecosystem in the country. The program has attracted over 2,000 startups from over 80 countries and has created over 10,000 jobs. The Rwanda, which is in Africa, the Rwandan government has launched Rwanda Coding Academy in 2018 to provide coding education to young people. The academy offers a one-year intensive program in software development and has helped to bridge the skills gap in technology sector. The academy has trained over 500 so far with a job placement rate of over 90%. All these case studies across the world, and as I mentioned, there are several such initiatives by various state governments and Government of India is making an immense effect in the area of skill, entrepreneurship development, and employment generation. So I would request at this point of time to the youngsters, to the budding entrepreneurs, to the ones who have a lot of idea and innovation, please try to go and talk to those entrepreneurs, those startup centers, those incubation centers where such immense innovation is happening. Try to understand the nitty-gritty of the investment and funding opportunities, and try to see to it how your startup, how your ideas, how your innovations, how your MSMEs can actually take a good shape, and they are guided very well by either mentors or through such companies who have already established themselves. And I'm sure that within 4 years of time, like more than 100 such ideas and innovations through startups have become unicorns. Your effort will definitely take you to such levels where you can also convert your smaller companies into unicorns. So friends, this is the time for entrepreneurship, self-employment, and startups in our country. This is a great opportunity that is unveiling, and I request you all to grab this opportunity and make your careers. All the best. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Narhari, who's the Secretary for MSME Department, Government of Madhya Pradesh, for putting forward, as he says, it's a time for entrepreneurship and employment. It's a time, also the time to avail various schemes and the benefits that the Government of India and the state governments are extending, so that we become self-reliant and ultimately it helps the socio-economic development of our region. Now is the turn of our speaker, young, dynamic bureaucrat who is been in the news for her work on the ground. So please join me in welcoming Ms. Kirti Jali, Deputy Commissioner, Kamrup District. Kindly take us through your initial experience of governance, ma'am.
Thank you, Sridhar. Respected Radhika Rastogi ma'am, respected Narhari sir, respected Kalyan sir, all India Global officials and my dear friends. Hokoloke mur namaskar. Kene ke aste? We've just heard Radhika ma'am speak on how the rural landscape is changing in terms of generating employment for yourself, be it through self-help groups, be it through farmer-producer organizations. We've heard Narhari sir speak on the MSME sector, which is the small industry sector. I would like to take you through the Assam experience to just give you a brief overall. But before that, I have a problem that such few people raise their hands as to how many want to join the government. Why not? क्यों ना है? अगर आपके घर में पानी ब्राउन कलर आता है, आप किसको ब्लेम करते हो? गवर्नमेंट को. आपका रास्ता खराब है, किसको ब्लेम करते हो? गवर्नमेंट को. अभी आप यहाँ जैसे बैठ के व्हाट्सएप कर रहे हैं दोस्तों को, अगर इंटरनेट नहीं आएगा किसको ब्लेम करोगे? गवर्नमेंट. So then it is your responsibility to join government. I joined government because I was tired of complaining. मुझे लगा मैं भी join करके कुछ सुधारने की कोशिश करूँगी. So that is how I joined civil services. মই সকলকো request কৰি আছোঁ আপুনিও আহক আৰু আমাৰ চৰকাৰক বদলীকৰণ কৰক. আপোনাক যি আপুনি ডিসি অফিসত গৈ ইনকাম সার্টিফিকেট লয় এডমিশনৰ কাৰণে. ডিসি অফিসত গৈ আপুনি কাষ্ট সার্টিফিকেটৰ কাৰণে লাইনত থাকে. ইমান মানে টান পায় ন, লম্বা লাইন থাকিব লাগিব, কোনো ভালকে কথা নাপাতে, কিয় আহিলে পিছত আহি যাবা, এতিয়া মই চাহ খাই আছোঁ, এনে কৰে ন. And which is why we come to the subject of changing face of governance. What we are trying to do, etu karne ye discussion important asse. Why does the face of government need to change? Because you as the youth, your aspirations are very different from what our aspirations was. Our aspirations were very different from our seniors' aspirations. ब्रिटिशर्स के टाइम पे रास्ते पे जाने के लिए परमिशन चाहिए था. सो आखू तेओ डीसी तात गोए लाइनत थाकी गाली खाए किबा परमिशन लय रास्तात जाबो पारे. सो फ्रॉम दैट बिगिनिंग्स टुडे वी आर हियर where you are expecting that apunar income certificate apuni jodi gharote apply kore apunak message ahibo ki income certificate ready ase apuni ahi jabo aru loi jabo. In fact ahibo nalage apuni print out lobo hoy na hoy. So that is the changing face of government. Today you as the youth, you are expecting that everything comes in your phone at your doorstep. You don't want to come to DC office and wait in lines. You're all students. Tomorrow, if you're going to start companies, you're going to start careers, you would rather avoid interaction with government because time is precious. So you don't want to wait for long times. So you want to say ki muk jikono service lage, hunkale ahibo pare. Agote apuni ki korisile gharor bijli bill officeot goi payment koribo lagisil. Etia apuni gharote bohi Paytm kori ase, online kori ase. Simple example, apni je mane mati revenue je diye, it is in cash form. Muk hoday request ahi thake ki apni online korok, ami Paytm korim, ami NEFT korim, apni offline na korok, iman cash amar hatot nae. That is a changing face of government, that there is the demand that is no longer happy with the services that government is offering. So that is where we are thinking of how better to be, how do we improve our services so that your aspirations are sorted. कितने लोग TikTok में थे? TikTok को क्यों बैन किया सरकार? Government didn't know TikTok was existing. आप लोगों ने इतना TikTok किया, टेरेस के ऊपर जाके वीडियोस बनाए, फिर कोई टेरेस से गिर गया, फिर गवर्नमेंट को बोले कि रेगुलेशन करो. Hence we had to enter into a hitherto unknown aspect of कि ये TikTok एक है platform which is being harmful, hence we had to ban it. PUBG कितने लोग खेलते हैं? आप सब लोग illegal version खेल रहे हैं because it is banned in the country. Again, why? Because parents started to complain that youth is getting affected and it's going in wrong directions, hence we need to stop playing this game. Today, as government, we have to deal with drone technology. आजिकाली अपनी घरोते बोही ऑनलाइन ऑर्डर करे डोमिनोज पिज्ज़ा एंड वो 30 मिनट में नहीं आता है तो पैसे वापस. 30 मिनट भी आपको बहुत लंबा लगता है. अपना लगे कि अरे मैं ऑर्डर करी लो 10 मिनट भीतर आइबो पारे नो. That is the changing need of youth, which government as a whole is supposed to understand, comprehend and change our regulations. Government's main 3 stakes are regulation, law and order and development. So development kota to apni huni asse. We are making better roads, we are making better power supply connections are being given every day. We are trying to facilitate opportunities in terms of opening up of shops, industries and everything. There's the regulation aspect. you may question हर किसी काम के लिए इतने permissions, इतने licenses क्यों चाहिए? That's the role of the government, that these regulations do not restrict. 90s से पहले आप लोग कभी I think पैदा भी नहीं हुए थे, हर किसी के घर पे फ़ोन नहीं होता था. उसमें लाइसेंस मिलता था कि किन किन घरों में टेलीफोन आ सकता है, एंड जिनको लाइसेंस मिला है उन्हीं को टेलीफोन मिल सकता था. टुडे all of you who are under 18 or around 18, all of you are having phones, because government has decided that उसमें हम licenses issue नहीं करेंगे. It's a free democracy. जिसको जो चाहिए आप खरीद लीजिएगा. We will regulate the technology so that it is not harmful to you, so that those mobile rays don't affect your health. So government, as the face of government, we step back from who has to own the mobile to regulating how harmful are the signals, how is it affecting your health, and whether this information is being leaked to foreign countries. So that's where again government comes into picture. Law and order, jene ke apuni jane, kiba jodi strike hoye, kiba damage hoye jaye public property karne, government comes into the picture. In today's day and age, these strikes are being held, or these opposition or this resistance to development is being held through various platforms. So government has to come into the picture and then take it forward in a mutually negotiable win-win situation. So that's again the changing phase. The other aspect is, of course, regulation, law and order, and development, which we've already spoken about. In this aspect, I would like to request all of you, because you've come for something called the Skill Conference, to think of how to be a job provider. सब लोग सोचते हैं मैं अमेरिका में जाके सेटल करूँगी, यूरोप में जाके सेटल करूँगी, मुंबई, चेन्नई, हैदराबाद, दिल्ली, तात भाल के सर्विसेज पाया से, इंस्टाग्राम और तात दिखाया से दुनिया के ऐसे facilities. What I am requesting you is that you should be a job provider to other youth. Start thinking in those lines. Can you set up companies? Infosys जैसे हम नाम सुनते हैं, that also started with 10 people. Amazon जिसमें आप सब लोग order करते हैं, that started in a garage of Jeff Bezos. So you can definitely think of ideas to be job providers. That is where we are talking about the changing face of government. We are easing out all kinds of regulations. Today's module is that आप आएंगे, आप यहाँ business शुरू करना चाहते हैं. There's a startup policy for Assam as well, where you can plug in and play. Basically, you come, all your regulations are sorted through us, so that you don't have to wait in long lines. You don't have to wait for people to come to you. We facilitate all of that. We also facilitate banks to give you loans where you can take off with your ideas. So all that we are asking you, who are the future of the state, to start thinking of solving your day-to-day problems using science, using technology. And if you want to start up, you want to start a company, you want to commercialize that, we as government are here to facilitate you. Which is why, the way Madam had said, if you want to even start a self-help group to produce, say, mushrooms. असम में आपको मशरूम कल्चर लाना है, आपको एवरी डे यू वांट टू स्टार्ट थिंकिंग ऑफ ईटिंग मशरूम्स, लड़कों के लिए मसल वसल बढ़ता है, इट्स वीगन प्रोटीन एंड ऑल दैट. सो वी आर हियर टू फैसिलिटेट यू, be it in terms of funding, be it in terms of technology, be it in terms of hand-holding, be it in terms of getting you resource persons to train you. You want to do something in drones. आपको लगता है कि ड्रोन डिलीवरी करेंगे अमेज़ॉन का खाना, सॉरी क्या बोलते हैं, ज़ोमैटो का खाना आपको ड्रोन से डिलीवरी करना है. दैट्स अ ग्रेट आइडिया. ऊबर, ओला सब जो यूज़ कर रहे हैं, अगेन दैट्स अ वेरी स्मॉल आइडिया दैट टुक ऑफ विथ टेक्नोलॉजी. So that is where we are welcoming you as the face of government, that we are here to contribute to your new aspirations, to contribute or to facilitate to your dreams, to facilitate to the dream of a new Assam, of a rising Assam, of an industrious Assam. That is where we as government want to help you out. So we are offering you a red carpet. Come join us in this revolution, and I'm sure that each of you will definitely contribute to the future of the state and the future of the country. One last thought I'd like to leave you with. As you're all aware, that climate change is something that we are all grappling with. It's a concern for all of us. What my grandparents enjoyed in terms of pure air, pure water, I don't get to enjoy. And our future generations accordingly will have lesser resources, lesser land, climate that is constantly changing, farmers who are getting affected by this climatic changes. So you as the future, do not shun farming, do not shun agriculture. Let us bring technology into it. Let us bring science into it. Can we study the weather patterns to modulate our farming practices? These are the ideas that we are looking for. So I invite all of you to come with us, think of solutions to these problems, and think of a better Assam. And always think global, act local, work for your state, work for your country, develop. You are the future. All the best. God bless you. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you so much, Ms. Kirti Jali, Deputy Commissioner, Kamrup District, Assam. A huge round of applause for Ms. Kirti Jali once again. How many are going for a government job now? How many are going for an entrepreneurship? Amazing. So with this, I would hand over. So this was a wonderful session with Radhika Rastogi Madam, Special Director Lal Bahadur Shastri, National Academy for Administration, Mr. P. Narhari, Secretary MSME Department of Madhya Pradesh, and Ms. Kirti Jali, Deputy Commissioner, Kamrup District, Assam. Over to you, Sulakshana.
Can we have another round of applause for our dynamic speakers on the stage? Thank you so much, ma'am, for enlightening our audience with your valuable inputs and encouraging the students. As a token of appreciation, we would like to felicitate our distinguished guest here on stage with a memento. For that, may I request Dr. Kalyan Chakravarti, sir, to kindly do the honors. I would also like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to Shri P. Narhari, Secretary MSME Department of Madhya Pradesh, sir. Thank you for joining us virtually. Can we have a round of applause for Ms. Kirti Jali, IAS Deputy Commissioner, Kamrup District. Here we have Radhika Rastogi ma'am, IAS Special Director Lal Bahadur Shastri, National Academy of Administration. A round of applause for Ms. Kirti Jali, IAS Deputy Commissioner, Kamrup District. Can we request for a group photo, please? For our next industry presentation, we have Shri Jayan Singh, sir, Vice Chairman, Inland Waterways Authority of India, Government of Assam, joining us virtually. He would be speaking on the role of inland water transport for the growth of Assam and Northeast.
So Mr. Jayant Singh would be taking us through the role of inland water transport. Mr. Jayant Singh will be taking us through the role of inland water transport for the growth of Assam and the northeastern states. Inland water transport, which is in the making, and the government, the state government is betting on it towards various opportunities and economic growth to the state. And Mr. Jayant Singh is heading the Inland Waterways Authority of India with the Government of India. Thank you very much, sir. Jan sir, good morning.
Yeah, very, very good morning to all the participants and the audience here. And it's a privilege and a matter of honor for me to be asked to speak here in this conclave, which is actually, I think it's a very, very timely intervention to really highlight the whole symbiosis that is possible with the development of the Northeast for the rest of the country and the society therein. And I'll be very happy to share my thoughts and share my views. Thank you. You want me to start? What's the sequence now? So am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible. Yes,
so
sir.
What's the, am I supposed to start the presentation or are you going to do an introduction, please? I mean, I don't know what's happening.
Sir, as we would, as we have already mentioned over here to the audience that you will take us through the role of inland water transport for the growth of Assam and the northeastern states. And what is the way ahead for the inland transport that is in the making in Assam.
So do you have any introduction here of the speaker or shall I start right away?
We had an introduction already, sir. So as we have already mentioned, yeah.
Okay, fair enough. No, have you introduced the speaker? Have you introduced the speaker? I'm going to address the audience. Have I been introduced to the audience?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Or shall I give my own introduction?
No, sir. The introduction has been done, sir. We did. As we already mentioned, Jayant Singh, sir, is a very senior bureaucrat. It's been done. However, I'll do it again for the sake of our new audience who have joined. Jayant, sir, Vice Chairman, who is heading the Inland Waterways Authority of India, Government of India, has a very important role towards the socio-economic growth that is linked with inland water transport. He will take us how the inland water transport is going to play.
Okay, fine. Let me take over. Actually, what I meant was the introduction of the speaker. Good morning, friends. My name is Jayant Singh, and I'm working currently as the Vice Chairman of Inland Waterways Authority of India. I'm essentially a railway officer. I'm on deputation with the Ministry of Shipping since 2021. And my expertise essentially in railways lay in multimodal transport. I set up a lot of inland container terminals in Rajasthan, Gujarat, and in Haryana in my earlier stint between 2002 and 2007. And prior to that, I had been working in railways in western part of the country. My essential interests lie in capacity building, government, logistics, strategic and security affairs. I have worked as faculty at the Lal Bahadur Shastri Academy of Administration, Mussoorie between 2011 and 16. And I also worked as a joint secretary in the National Security Council Secretariat under the Prime Minister's office with the National Security Advisor from 2016 until 2020. I am a Railway Traffic Service Officer of 1994 batch, and I've done Masters and graduation in History from St. Stephen's College, Delhi. and my second master's in governance and public management from the London School of Economics, and also an MPhil in security and strategic studies from National Defence College, Delhi. So that's my introduction, friends, in brief. Now I'll just start my presentation. So my focus is going to be on inland water transport. What is the scenario as far as the Northeast is concerned? What are our future prospects, and how it is going to be? We think is going to be a game changer, not only for Assam and India Northeast, but for the entire region. Next, please. So before we start, let me give in a snapshot in one slide, a small introduction of what benefits that inland water transport. IWT stands for Inland Water Transport, the benefit it confers. So it is a very cost-effective mode. It's a very eco-friendly mode. And the biggest advantage of inland water transport as far as the Northeast is concerned, that we have a lot of natural waterways. I did a lot of my initial service in Rajasthan and Gujarat, where water was always, it was a very, very Bangladesh. I look at Myanmar. Here it's an untapped reservoir. It's a natural highway. So the advantages are self-evident in the slide because it encourages multimodal transportation. It's environment friendly. The carbon footprints are lower. It is very well suited to carry heavy and bulk cargo. I'll give you a small example. We are sending a lot of stuff for the Numaligarh refinery, the chimneys and precipitators and heavy equipment. And if I were to carry it by rail, it would be impossible to carry because of the bridges, because of so many impediments. But when you carry it on river, on a national waterway, it becomes so much more easier. Similarly, the cost of carriage as compared to rail and road is incredibly low. So it's there in the slide, and I'm sharing the presentation with the organizers, so I'm sure it will be circulated. So it's very, very self-explanatory. Next, please. So before I talk about the Inland Waterways Authority of India, that's not so relevant here, but what is important is that in India, we are doing only about 2 to 3% of total cargo movement by waterways. Ideally, given our potential, we should have achieved by now at least 5 to 6%. And if you see a country like China, for example, 14% of their logistics is being moved by inland waterways. In Bangladesh, it's 30%. In Europe, it's about 11 to 12%. Western Europe, that's I'm talking about Rhine and the Danube River system. So with that kind of vision in mind, when Inland Waterways of India was set up in '86, we were given the mandate for development, maintenance and utilization of waterways and the pertinent land for shipping and navigation. So we have set ourselves a target of 5% of the total traffic volume by 2030 and the capacity augmentation of this sector. Next. So this is what we do. We do infrastructure development. We define rules and regulations. We undertake technical studies. We advise and assist state governments, private sector, NGOs, and we do training and development. Next. So now this is an important slide, ladies and gentlemen, and the organizers and my fellow participants. Arguably, of all the different modes of logistics in this country, be it the road, the rail, the airways, the shipping, coastal shipping, IWT has been witnessing a very, very consistent growth, year-on-year growth. And over the last 2-3 years, the growth has been quite impressive. We've been doing at a compounded annual growth rate of 21%. And if you look at that pie chart on the right, which shows the commodity profile, that profile has also been widening. Just a few years back, our commodity profile was confined to stone aggregates, fly ash, a bit of iron ore from Goa and coal. But now we are diversifying. We have added container, we've added POL, we've added gas. So this is only growing. And the best news in this sector is that it's only in the last 4 or 5 years that we have really started looking at the sector seriously, both in terms of, capital outlays, interest of the states and the participation by the states and the multilateral agencies. Assam, of course, has taken the lead. Assam is one of the more progressive states when it comes to waterways, and we'll talk about that in greater detail as we move along. Next slide, please. So, friend, this is where inland waterways are as far as the northeastern region is concerned. We have about 20 waterways here on Brahmaputra, Barak, Ai, Beki, Dehing, Dikho. The list is there. What is important is to understand that all of them if we are able to develop, and this is our vision, I know it is very challenging. I'll be talking about the challenges also. It is very challenging, but say in the next about 10 to 15 years, once you are able to execute all these projects, you have an excellent waterways grid that will link Northeast not only to the larger Indo-Gangetic river systems or Bangladesh or to the ports in Bangladesh and in West Bengal, but also to the entire region, the larger greater region comprising Myanmar, Bangladesh, Bhutan, Nepal. You know, one of the reasons that the prosperity and the growth and development of Northeast has been, you know, not to the kind of to the extent of the potential this area has been the logistics. Now, a lot of inputs are going into things like railways, things like roadways, but it has to be a very multimodal effort. And if you see this grid here, if you are able to execute this, this is going to be a godsend. Next, please. Now, what is the existing infrastructure? This is just for the benefit of the audience. I'll just kind of, you know, broadcast the next few slides. If you see, the most important is the National Waterway 2. From Sadia to Dhubri, it's a 891 kilometer long stretch along Brahmaputra. And I don't see this stretch as some sort of a barrier. This is a natural, it's a God-given highway to the people of the Northeast, to the people of Assam. See it as that, an indestructible, unsinkable, all-weather highway. All we have to do is spend some money, spend some resources to make it navigable round the clock, round the year. So there are three essential components of developing waterways. One is to have a fairway. Fairway means we should be able to ply ships and boats on this waterway, on the river, round the year, number one. Number two, we have to have terminals. They can be small jetties, they can be large multimodal terminals like we have in Pandu in Guwahati, or the one is coming up in Jogighopa. We can even have small jetties, we can have small ro-ro jetties, as many jetties and terminals as possible. And third and the most critical component are the vessels. And vessels is something where the state government, the center will have to work together. They have to work in conjunction with private sector to enable private sector to procure more and more vessels so that we are able to carry cargo. So this is what we have as far as NW2 is concerned. We are developing fairway. We are looking at a depth of 2.5 meters. Now this is the beauty. If we get a depth of 2.5 meters only round the year, we can carry ships of tonnage of up to 1,500 to 2,000 tons round the year. So this is the biggest advantage that IWT has, because we know that Brahmaputra is, the seasonal flow of the river varies, the current speed, the depth, the formation of shoals, siltation and all is rampant. So our target is modest. We are looking at a depth of only 2.5 to 2 meters, and that is good enough to give us the kind of navigability that we are seeking. We have at the moment two operational terminals on the Brahmaputra, one at Pandu in Guwahati, one at Dhubri on the Indo-Bangladesh border. And we have 9 floating terminals which are listed, but we are coming up with a few more, and I'll be talking about them briefly. Next, please. So, can we go on to the next one also? Next. Yeah. So this is actually, I wanted to have, before I came to the Skill Development Center and other thing, I wanted to show you, this is the kind of possibility. Now, if you see, this is a very, very small jetty, a floating terminal, but this floating terminal is good enough to handle the weight of a small, a very, very small truck and jeep, ideal for doing the ro-ro services across the river and carrying and handling small vessels. So this can be used for shipping, for fishing vessels, it can be used for small cargo vessels, and certainly the small ro-ro and ro-pack vessel, and can, and these are very cheap. They cost you hardly, the entire cost of including the, solar panels, lighting, etc., land, everything comes to less than 2 crores. So we can have assortment of these kind of floating terminals along Brahmaputra and along other rivers. Go back, please. Yeah. So as I said, when I was mentioning what exactly inland water transport sector entails, it entails fairway, it entails vessels, it entails terminals, but the most important resource is human resource. So one of the things that one target we had assigned to ourselves was setting up of a skill development center in the Northeast at Guwahati. Now this is very important, and this actually, it is, I really have to credit my minister, the former Chief Minister of Assam, Mr. Sarvanand Sonowal, for this. He was very adamant. He said, unless you actually impart skills or give employment, offer the opportunities to the people who are living in these areas, you cannot have the kind of growth that you're looking at. And with that vision in mind, we had, we started in 2022 developing the center, and now it is kind of come to a fruition. And we've had a couple of courses that have been run successfully. And these were the pilot training program based on the feedback and based upon the kind of, the response from the industry. We'll be doing the right iterations. Next, please. Assam and North. National waterways. Of trade with Bangladesh, a developing world, and we benefit we are now developing, and we are for least available depth between Sridarpur to Bhanga for 2 meters. Now, here our target is not 2.5 but 2 meters, because the kind of vessels that ply in this sector on river Barak, which becomes Kushiara as it enters Bangladesh, is about 2 meters is more than adequate. Okay, next please. Yeah, next, yeah. So, now this is an important slide, friend. This is the quantum of investment that has been allocated as far as the Northeast is concerned, especially in Assam. If you look at it, developing road connecting IWI Pandu port to NH27. Now, just a word about this. The next slide, Abhini. Ship repair facility at Pandu port, it will be inaugurated. The foundation stone, etc., would be laid. I think we have a planned function sometime in next month. We are constructing a permanent inland water transport terminal at Jogi Ghopa, which will link with the multimodal transport, with the multimodal logistic park at Jogi Ghopa, which would be the largest multimodal facility of its kind anywhere in this region. It's an excellent connectivity. It has an excellent connectivity with rail, with road, with IWT. Lot of space for setting up not only number of warehouses but also different value-added facilities such as small assembly points. And it will be a major boon not only for the bulk traffic but also for what we call the digital marketing giants, Amazon and all. They can have permanent warehousing and all over there. Similarly, we are constructing 2 floating jetties at Bogibeel and at Guijan, and then doing a lot of allocation, a lot of work for dredging and fairway maintenance in this place, in the upper reaches of National Waterway 2, and of course a permanent terminal at Sonamura. And all this is very, very critical if we are to connect Assam and the other northeastern states with the rest of India through waterways, which is possible by having a good connectivity through Bangladesh. And this is what we are doing. I'll be talking about it towards the end of my presentation. Next, please. So this is the alternate road to Pandu. Now, Pandu terminal is important because it is a truly multimodal terminal. We have an excellent road connectivity. We have a rail connectivity. As I give this presentation, we have steel coming in from Vizag being unloaded, and it will be moving by road further. My vision is to get it to Guwahati and move it by waterways. God willing, this should happen by next year. We are, as I mentioned, we are constructing a permanent jetty at Jogi Ghopa. Next. Ship repair facility at Pandu. Now, this is again very crucial. You know why? Because today, if any vessel, any inland transport vessel in Assam or anywhere in the northeast has to be serviced or repaired, it has to be sent all the way to Calcutta via Bangladesh, which is a very onerous exercise. It takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of effort, costs a lot of money. So we are Indian Waterways Authority of India and the Hooghly Cochin Shipyard Limited. Cochin Shipyard, as we all know, built our the largest aircraft carrier, the indigenous aircraft carrier Vikrant. So they are building at Guwahati, near Guwahati at Pandung ship repair facility with a slipway dock and all. And God willing, we'll be able to see this thing operational by 2025. Next, please. Bogibeel is going to come up. So as we all are aware that how Dibrugarh was the nodal center for growth and development, I mean for commerce and trade and industry in Assam once upon a time. And with the kind of natural advantages that that area has, Upper Assam has, it's very important that we have a permanent facility at Bogibeel. So that's coming up. And all this will work very well only if we have availability of fairway. So we have allocated a sum of 233 crore for dredging on NW2 and W16, 31 and 57. And the work will start very soon this year. Next. And this is, of course, I talked about these two. Next, please. Besides the pure IWT projects sponsored by the Inland Waterways Authority of India, there are a lot of centrally sanctioned schemes for Northeast for the development of waterways, and these are basically not only in Assam, but also in Manipur, Mizoram, and we are also in touch with the government of Nagaland should they have any requirement. So they are listed over here. The whole idea is basically to, create a very vibrant inland water transport ecosystem. Next. So a little bit, I want to dwell a little bit about the dredging. As I had mentioned earlier, one of the biggest impediments in developing and the growth and development of waterways is the heavy siltation and the changing of course by the river. So this is to, mitigate this problem. What we are looking at is the mapping of river Brahmaputra to identify and create a navigable fairway from Bangladesh border right up to Nimati, and have introducing techniques like multi-beam system. This is like kind of a sonar, so sound navigation and ranging for swath mapping on the river. So this will enable not only night navigation, but also for in daytime when you have small boats and all that through an app, through a Android or an iPhone app, you will be able to have access to what is the safest route on a wide river. Brahmaputra could be, very wide, 5-10 kilometers wide. So we are looking at a fairway of only a channel of only 45 meters. Where exactly is that located? You will be able to access through your smartphone. And of course, detailed survey every fortnight to identify safe navigable routes. The results of this survey again would be available through an app. Next, please. This is what we have tested, and it is working very well. Night navigation information, RIS, integration with radar, and AIS stand for Automatic Identification System. So basically all these technology, what they will essentially do is enable large vessels, small fishing vessels, ro-ro vessels to fly without any fear, without any safety hassles around the clock, around the year, even during monsoons. So we are implementing them in a big way, and hopefully within a year and a half, the entire stretch from Sadia to Dhubri, we'll be able to offer these facilities to all our users. Next, please. And of course, these are the two portals. Vessel tracker application. Today, we have a major function at Dibrugarh when the world's longest river cruise, starting from Varanasi, which started from Varanasi in January, is now will be terminating at Dibrugarh, and we've been able to track the movement of this vessel throughout its entire journey from Varanasi to via Bihar, Bengal, Bangladesh, and now in Assam, round the clock without any hassle. This application has worked very well. The link is given. You can just access everything. All our vessels on national waterways 1 and 2 can be tracked via this. Next. Now, this is the larger regional connectivity grid that I was talking about in the earlier part of my presentation. We call it was earlier called the EVAC-PG, the Eastern Waterway Transport Connectivity Grid. But we have renamed it the Regional Waterway Grid because East is as east as you can go. So there is no limit. The government is following the Act East policy. Our Honorable Prime Minister is very, very focused on the Northeast and developing the East. And as part of this, what we are trying to do essentially is to connect the Brahmaputra and the Ganga river system, the Barak river system, by means of a waterway-based grid, so that movement of goods and the bulk goods, export good, import good, not only between India, within India, but also India, Bhutan, Bangladesh, and Nepal, all are woven in by means of inland water transport and coastal shipping. As I said, Bangladesh has a very vibrant ecosystem of inland water transport. 30% of their cargo is moving via waterways, but there's a lot of scope for technological upgradation. There's a lot of scope for improving the numbers of vessels, improving the quality of the vessels, okay, and setting up more and more terminals, having more and more multimodal terminal. We are looking at a possibility, and even today as I speak, I'm talking to you, we have a terminal coming, we have a terminal at Sahibganj on the borders of Bengal and Jharkhand, Bihar and Jharkhand. That is a state-of-the-art facility by which export and import traffic of Nepal can be easily accessed via waterways. So the trucks carrying containers and cargo can come from Nepal, they can come up to Sahibganj, and that cargo can move via waterways right up to Haldia and to other ports. So this is the kind of vision we have, whereby exports from Assam, imports to Assam and the Northeast can move via waterway. This is the vision of the RWG. Next slide, please. This is the schematic map. Now, the reason why we are so optimistic and gung-ho about this regional waterway grid is the graph that you see toward the right. IBP route is the Indo-Bangladesh protocol route. And unlike the problem that is there between Indo-Bangladesh transport in rail and road, waterway transport is very, very seamless. So we have a protocol on inland water trade and transport, which allows for seamless movement of vessels. As you can see today in Dhubri, for example, it is the fastest growing inland water port in India, not only in India, but in the entire South Asian region. Seamless movement. Dhubri to Chilimari and now extending to Sirajganj, Ashuganj, and God willing up to Dhaka very soon. So the growth has been quite phenomenal. In 1 year only, we have achieved about more than 25% growth. And a lot of it is being coordinated between, not only by India and Bangladesh government and the assistance of World Bank. We also have government of Assam and the Inland Water Transport Directorate of Assam, which is a very, very active partner. Assam has been doing a great work in setting up terminals and setting up the whole ecosystem for vessel procurement, vessel maintenance and operation. So this is the kind of prospect that this region has. Now just imagine if I have to transport some goods in all to Tripura. Why should I bring it via circuitous railway route? I'll bring it to Calcutta. From there I can move it via Sonamura, via Indo-Bangladesh route. Similarly, exports from Assam, imports to Assam can easily move via waterway. So this is the kind of vision that we have. We already have a concept plan and it is in pipeline. So once it is approved, we'll definitely get working on this in 3 to 4 years. From 5 years from now, I see the whole landscape changing. Next. So this is what it is about connectivity. Back. Now, a couple of things, it all sounds very good, but there are a lot of challenges. I wanted to talk about the challenges in the last 1 minute. Do I have a couple of minutes? Yeah, okay, thank you. There are 2 or 3 challenges. The biggest challenge for waterways is the geography. The rivers in our subcontinent, in the Indian subcontinent, are shallow and wide, whereas for navigation, you require narrow and deep rivers, which means that we need to do a lot of dredging, a lot of siltation. There's a lot of siltation, so we need to do a lot of dredging, we need to do a lot of fairway maintenance, which costs money. So that is the biggest challenge. The second biggest challenge is that today, unfortunately, be it the policymakers like civil servants, the politicians, everybody, we want very quick results. If we announce a project, the result should come out 5 months. Now, waterways does not develop like this. A country like China, with all its state capacity and it's a totalitarian state, it took them 30 to 40 years to reach where they are today. They started in 1978. It took them 2010 when they reach this kind of level. We have started looking at waterways seriously as a modern means of transport only in the last 5 to 6 years, 5 to 7 years. In 2014, when this government came, they started looking at. Mr. Gadkari was very keen, and subsequently the minister and the present minister, of course, thankfully, he is from Assam, so he understands the prospects and the potential. So the government has to stay invested. That is the second challenge. And the third challenge is technology. You know, the problem is that technology costs money, and if we introduce new technology, it raises the overall costing. So who will bear that cost? If I ask the private sector to bear that cost, they would not be very keen because profits don't come instantly, they take time in coming. It is much cheaper. Suppose I am a private operator, it is much cheaper for me to buy 20, 40 feet trailers than to buy a small inland transport vessel. So we have to come up with smart policies to encourage investment. So the role of government is very critical, and it is very important. Whosoever is the chief minister, whosoever is the prime minister or the shipping minister, whatever government it is, it should stay invested, right? So these are the couple of challenges that I wanted to, outline and red flag before I ended my presentation. So friends, thank you very much for your time and attention, and I'll be very happy to take any questions.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I'm sorry I can't be in person. Actually, let me confess, I'm undergoing chemotherapy. I just been detected with a very early stage of a very mild tumor in my body. So I'm undergoing chemotherapy, so I cannot travel. So that is why I had to give it in virtual mode.
So on behalf of the Government of Assam, to Shri Jayan Singh, Vice Chairman of IWAI, would like to give you our heartfelt thanks for giving a really outstanding presentation. I would request you also to share the presentation with us so that we understand, because you made the presentation with a great degree of foresight and have really laid down what the issues are for a long term and a short term, both long term and short term policies of the government. I would request you just a couple of things before we close. One is that from what you have presented, there is tremendous scope for employment. There is tremendous scope for employment, whether it is the ports or whether it is just the carriers or whether it is associated, landing facilities, and of course the hinterland development that happens along with what you have suggested. And we have here a number of students who would probably be engaged in making this happen, which will, we believe that, what you presented is the core to the development of the Northeast. Actually, if Northeast were to shine, then your sector has to do well, or rather it has to be the, it has to be the crown in the jewel, right? So I would request you to mail to us or send a small report on what kind of skilling opportunities are there. How do you foresee as to what kind of skilled manpower you'll require to sustain this vision of yours, like in terms of maybe ITI students, maybe, what kind of ITI students will be required. You said that I need to build a small port. What kind of, manpower is required for each of these things? I would like you to list down, like short term, medium term, this is the kind of manpower that will be required. We need to get so much in order to make this sustainable. And also some of the things like, say, dredging, you said. Dredging is a very major activity, but whether it can be self-sustainable or not, if in the sense that can it be useful for agriculture, whatever the dredge materials, is it a self-sustainable business proposition? So please work out in terms of employment, business opportunities, and if you can give us a 2-page document, it will be very, very useful to me and to the government, because we're looking for employment, we're looking for business opportunities. So just a paper on that would be great for us. That's all I have to say. I'll certainly share all that. If I can just respond in 30 seconds. Yeah, please. The employment opportunities lie in all the activities. Now, let me take them up one by one. To start with, for ITI graduates who undergo some sort of skilling in inland water transport, the skills lie in the area of operations of vessels. So navigation, you are the master, or you are the, the helmsman or the boat, or the whatever vessels are being plying. It's like merchant navy kind of thing, at a smaller scale, at a local scale, at a smaller scale. So a lot of opportunities there.
And then the beauty of these kind of skills that you gain here in the Skill Development Center, and we have a National Indian Navigation Institute at Patna, and NINI in Patna, we'll be opening a satellite terminal here of this thing in the Northeast also. So it is like a minor, it's like merchant navy. So you learn the navigation operation side, there'll be a marketing side, and both with a lot of IT application. That is one area. The second area would definitely be the, the management of small terminals. Now today, suppose now I build a big port, say a big terminal at Bogibeel. Now IWAI does not have a mandate of commercial operation. I'm just a infrastructure provider. So who will man those terminals? So somebody from Inland Water Transport Department in Assam, they will have to look at a private partner or somebody to manage that terminal. You know, when you manage a multimodal terminal, you have to plan arrival of trucks, unloading of cargo, loading of cargo, the documentation that goes on with it, overall administration on that place. A small terminal, let me give you a small example. You know, when I set up my first inland container terminal in Jaipur in 2002, you know, I used to sit in a small portable cabin, and we had a fleet of 10 trailers and 7 or 8 trays. So by the time I left in 5 years, we were offering direct and indirect employment to over 3,000 families, trailers, loaders, crane operators, track maintainers, rake maintainers, security. I mean, look at the kind of, economic spin-off that happens. The other area of, employment is going to be in mechanical engineering, because when you have a fleet of IWT vessels, you will need people to do day-to-day maintenance of these. Fueling facilities, bunkering facilities, these will come up. So I mean, it's the whole, when you talk about the logistics ecosystem, this is the kind of ecosystem we talk about. So it is a lot of self-spinning. It is a lot of self-generation of employment. And the second part of your question about dredging, this is another beautiful thing. You know, the sand that is dredged out is the commodity, is the property of the state government, the mineral department of the state government. So if the government, if the state government is proactive, like they are in several other, like in Kerala, for example, or in Bengal, the dredged sand, they can enter into the contract with our contractors and just take away. You know, today, the building sand, which is dredged from river beds and all, that is a very scarce commodity. There are a lot of illegal sand mining going on. So if your dredged sand is of that quality, which can be used for construction, I mean, you see the kind of profit that will come in. Certainly.
So thank you very much, and we look forward to your paper, and I hope that your success will actually enhance the employment opportunities. Thank you very much for your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, sir. Okay, there is a... So now, students, the next session they would start at around. It's now 5 to 12. Our next session would start in another 20-25 minutes. So I would request we'll be joining you back soon.
You know what secrets we are talking? Hi. Oh Maya. Hi. Ajit Halagawadi. Did I spell it right? No, where are we? Assam. Easy to say, right? Awesome, Assam. That is true. I have got chance to go little places. For this moment, I felt like, wow. Thank you. We want to spend few minutes. Shall we all have a good, happy time for some time? From morning, you have great people. They've been talking too good with you, right? Very inspiring, aspiring, Good. Yeah. The Hindi cinema जो देखता है ना उसको आता है या बोलना आता है. We have a wonderful time yesterday. We had wonderful time yesterday. Did anybody come yesterday also? Did you have good speakers yesterday? Boys and girls, there are recordings and the video, YouTube links also. Whoever missed yesterday's things, please make sure you go watch them and listen to them. Yes. Abhi jaane ke baad, abhi nahi, huh? We'll provide you the links. I was suddenly pushed here. Ramya, it's your time. Oh, thank you, I said. Yes, it's my time. First thing, I'll ask you one question which I started yesterday, but I am waiting to have the more crowd of boys and girls here. How many of you want a salary of 10,000 rupees? वो काफी है मेरे लिए नहीं ना? No, I'll keep increasing. Then join your voice. For the next 10 minutes, we'll talk together. I'm watching you all. I'm observing your hands also. There are cameras which are going to be on you when you're talking. Right? Deal? Good. Hi. She was the one very bright yesterday and she was answering all the questions when the delegates were also asking. Good. 20,000 rupees? 20,000, where our parents have spent lots of time to earn it in a month in their days. That was a big number. Let's not make rupee small. Okay, 30,000 rupees? Wow. 40,000 rupees? 50,000? Okay, somebody is happy with 50,000. I bless you, you get more than that. 60,000 rupees? I'm happy still somebody said no for 60,000 rupees. Now it is time for me to ask you, what are you doing? What kind of education stream you are in? What career path you have chosen? That is the right question, right? 60,000 के above कमाने के लिए क्या करने वाले हो? Business. आइसक्रीम का छोटा डब्बा लेके 2 और 3 पैकेट बेचने भी बिजनेस ही होता है. पर वो छोटा डब्बा काफी है आपके लिए? Will that earn you 60,000 rupees? This whole 2 days of hard work with these gentlemen here and women here, great people over there, has put all the efforts to tell you money is the smallest thing which you can think about, and showing your strengths to the universe is the biggest thing you have to look. We all are in IndiGlobal Bharat Summit, right? Can I hear from you? Repeat with me. IndiGlobal Bharat Summit. We are no more pertain to one region. Thank you for the repetition. From here, let's all talk together. Let's not look our energies. Now, if a K-pop song is heard by you all, are you feeling happy? But for me, I want Koreans to listen your song. I want all the rest of the universe would admire you as a great singer or a dancer or a professional person. Somebody come and stand in a line for your inventions, to buy a patent from you or to get the things from you. Which is better for me? Which makes us proud? World looking at you makes us all proud, right? अभी ये करेंगे, क्या क्या जुगाड़ करके हम पैसा कमा सकते हैं? खाली पैसा? No, right? पैसा काफी है? किसके लिए पैसा काफी है? पैसा काफी is all about money. Life is all about money. How many yes? How many no? Thank God, there are so many around me to say that money is not everything. इज्जत चाहिए और satisfaction चाहिए. लव चाहिए वो तो मिलेगा, मम्मी पापा ने दिया ढेर सारा. But we are used to that love, so we don't look at it. We want always something bright and new, right? Never forget that. Now, पैसा चाहिए, प्यार भी है, छोड़ दो, वो अभी का काम नहीं है. इज्जत चाहिए, and satisfaction is something which you are looking about. If I pay you 1 crore rupee and make you do a job which you don't like, will you be happy? 1 crore है ना हाथ में, 60,000 के बाद है वो. No, right? ज़्यादा ये 1 crore. You don't need to do anything. Now we are all on the same point. On the same point. How can we do something which makes us happy and make our people proud about it? The whole point of our discussion is that explore what you really love for yourself. जो भगवान ने आपको दिया talent जो है, the इच्छा which is in you, let's explore it first. Because no two persons are same. The talent you are blessed is not same with the other boy, right? So that is the same. Let us explore what we are blessed with and then shine it up. Yesterday, one of the speakers was saying, it is not just raising Assam, it is shining Assam. We want shining Assam. You are the raising Assam. You are the shining Assam. Yes, Assam shines by you. Give a grand appreciation for all the boys and girls who are ready to make India proud. Can I see your 5 fingers? 5 fingers मैं देख सकती हूँ? Show me your 5 fingers. आपका उंगलियाँ ऐसे 5 दिखा दीजिए. How many directions are there? North, east, west, south? Northeast. India is one country, thank you. We have multiple ways to look around and to observe. We are looking at you. We from down south, we always believe you are the most beautiful and the most comfortable and happiest and peaceful people around in the Northeast. When people from Northeast look at us, these are the people who are gifted with more educational institutions, more corporate things and everything are there. They're sorted. सब कुछ सही है यार. ये क्या है? बाहुबली है? हाँ है. अच्छा लगा बाहुबली? Make sure I can hear you, right? So now the whole point for all of us here is that let us start giving time for ourselves before just looking for a job. We are not looking for job anymore because 60,000 खाली job के लिए कोई नहीं देगा यार. They take services from you. Your time you're investing in it. Make sure wherever you invest your time, that gives you fruits, right? I have a wonderful person with us. Now you all know that. Sudden ka pilcharu, sudden ka this. I mean.
Thank you, Ramya, for keeping our audience engaged. Now let us have a speaker who will take us through the ideas and the way you can make money. Please join me in welcoming Raju Prasad Chaudhary, who is the advisor Northeast for Godrej Oil Palm Plantations. A round of applause for Raju Prasad Chaudhary.
Good morning, everyone. So you will be surprised that we have got a topic that is called entrepreneurship. People now, you know that most of the people in today's world, they want to be entrepreneur. What is this entrepreneur? We don't want to be a job seeker, rather we want to be a job creator. I did my agriculture from West Bengal. I did my MBA from IFT. I was employed, I was a senior vice president. I was in Singapore and I left that job to become an entrepreneur. So the journey is awesome. I have formulated a concept how to become an entrepreneur. See, we should not look only for job. This is a concept which was given by British, that we learn hard. Our parents used to tell us that study hard, get a job. So that is not a satisfaction in today's world. We need more than what ma'am was also saying. Beside money, you need a balanced life. Money can give you satisfaction to certain stage at initial phase. So to become an entrepreneur, you need some kind of skills. What are those skills? So there is a concept of 4M. So the first thing, why India lags behind creating an entrepreneur compared to Silicon Valley? In world, Silicon Valley is number one, where lot of startups happens, lot of unicorn comes. What is the reason why India, we are not able to create such kind of an environment? So there are a system that we need to follow. So what is this 4M? The first M is mindset. If you want to become an entrepreneur, you need to have a right mindset. Then what is the second M? Suppose you want to become an entrepreneur, then the second M is method. We need to know what is the method to do that business. So please write this second M, that is method. Then third is your management. You need to manage entire system. And then fourth is a mentorship. We will break down each topic in heading. So the fourth is you need a mentor, because when you learn the theory in your class, you have understood, okay, I want to set up a company. So what is the procedure for setting up a company? You have understood that. You have done some practical exposure. And then you need some guidance from your senior or from your mentor who will handhold when there is a problem coming practically, how to handle that situation. So it is entire ecosystem needs to be built, which will help you not to become a job seeker, but to job creator. And then you need to manage that entire. So first is, for becoming an entrepreneur, any business, it takes 3 years to 5 years to move to a break-even situation. If you think that today I start my company and after 6 months I'll be profitable, so it is not the case. I started my career, I was working for a company in India and in Singapore, and 10 years I invested my time in working for a company. And then after such a vast experience, when I started my company, I had a fund, I had a knowledge, but still my psychology was not allowing me to get into business. It took 6 months for me to go through that mental torture, and then I decided, yes, I want to become an entrepreneur. So I had to tune my brain. So everyone who wants to do something different, they have to tune their brain, because even your parents, they will say, why you want to start some business? Get a job, get a government job, or get some good job. So you need, there is a pressure from our parents to certain standard practice, whereas in developed countries, they are open-ended. Whereas we come from a culture, even like Eastern sector, they are very close, they want something secured. Even our parents, they don't allow us to get into entrepreneur concept because it is a risky proposition. So when there is a risk, there is a reward. If there is a higher risk, there is a high reward. Even you may be knowing a unicorn like Oyo. So even any unicorn that is coming up, India is signing on lot of unicorns coming. People come with an idea and develop that, and they are getting multi-million dollars. Now lot of investors are coming into India. So let us get alert on those lines. So once you have a right mindset, then only you can strive for 3 to 5 years. Otherwise, it will be very tedious exercise. You will leave, because today, lot of entrepreneurs, they leave their entrepreneur journey in very short span of time because they need a quick money, which is not possible. It is only from your practical experience you will learn, and then only you will be able to make something different. Because in today's environment, you want to set up some business, the first objective is to identify the problem, and then you make a business model on focus that problem, one problem. Don't try to solve too many issues. Like if you want to set up some startup, identify the only one problem. Like you know that Ola or Uber, they are trying to solve the inconvenience that customer face. Red bus, like people like you, he was going for his holiday and he could not get a ticket, so he came up with an idea. So whenever you are forming an idea, it should be addressing only one problem, not many problems. Otherwise, your unicorn is not going to shine. So you should always focus on one point and then see what is the market size, where is the demand. And it should come from your practical experience. You face with certain challenge, like say in US, one of my colleagues, she said that she was having a problem in getting tiffin, good homemade food in US. So she formed a concept of online delivery of home cooked food. So always we should have an idea, first of all, and it has to address only one problem. Naukri.com, what they did, his honor, when he was working with GSK, am I right? So he left a job, he was trying to become an entrepreneur. So he said that he was struggling for 6 months to put his resignation paper because he was getting good salary and he was maintaining his family. So he has to forego this salary, so it was not an easy exercise. Whereas you, because you have just about to start your career, so your opportunity cost is very low. People like us, when we are at a senior position, we have a family, we have other expenses, and our lifestyles is at a certain stage, so it becomes very difficult for us to leave those comfort and get into entrepreneur. Whereas you have an opportunity that what you can do, if you have identified some problem area, get mentorship on those segments. How to make it executable, this project. So it can be anything, and try to find a problem segment in and around your area. You don't have to go and solve the issue of somewhere else. In Northeast, we have got lot of issues. Can we address those issues? So try to find those problematic area, pen it down, always write in your notebook, because lot of ideas will keep on coming. So we need to write every time our ideas, what is the problem, what are most likely, how we can solve. If you are not aware, discuss with your professor, your teacher, they will guide you. And then we should not think that I don't have a fund, because most of the people, when we ask, what is the hindrance that why you are not able to do or start your own company? So what will be your answer? Can I have any answer? Like most of the people say that I cannot start my company because what is the most important thing? So here it is not about money. Most of the people, they think that it is money. When I wanted to start my company, I had a money, I had knowledge, I had networking, I had everything, but I was lacking on that psychology. So that is where I say mindset is most important. Okay, so first you should have a right mindset. Money will come because as you know that government is organizing lot of workshop. So even funding bank, you know that there is a Mudra loan, you can get up to 10 lakhs. There is incubation fund. Even some, I think, Nest is there in Guwahati, I saw while I was coming over here. So they will, once your idea is formulated, there are institutions who are going to fund you. So don't worry about, that is where we can tell, no, its mindset is most important thing. Otherwise, you will not be able to head in that direction. You are thinking of creating a unicorn which will be worth million. Am I right? So you have to focus on that concept. So at end, I would like to summarize that it is 4M that is going to change your concept of becoming an entrepreneur. First is your mindset. You should have a right mindset. Also, you should think of an incubation period. 3 to 5 years you need to spend on your idea. And during that journey, you will understand whether it is worth to pursue in that direction or to change. Okay? And then second is learn, get some skill, method. Third will be management. And fourth will be mentors. So get some guide, and that will be smoothen your curve. And I would like to end. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chaudhary. Next up, we have a special presentation from L&T Construction, Buildings and Factories. We have Mr. Nityanand N, Deputy General Manager, Business Development for Health. A round of applause for our Mr. Nityanand.
There's a video also I need to show. Audio. This way. Audio डालो.
future is closer than we think. Using digital technologies, we are implementing futuristic solutions to make quantum improvements across all our businesses, resulting in smart engineering, smart manufacturing, smart project management, smart infrastructure. Our proven global expertise in infotech, as well as technology services, enables us to solve complex business problems at the convergence of the physical and digital worlds, both internally and for major clients across the globe, including a large number of Fortune 500 companies. Disruptive technologies like the Internet of Things are changing the way we live and work. We are leveraging our rich engineering heritage with these new technologies to offer businesses worldwide services that enhance efficiency and productivity. By exploiting analytics for innovation, we are transforming the way these industries operate. Cities are the beating heart of the world's economy. Their speed and scale of expansion presents a choice: mega-city turmoil or an inviting urban environment. A smart city. A smart city involves the application of information-based systems for better governance and services. With expertise in both infrastructure and new-age technologies, L&T has the edge in implementing India's mission to make 100 cities resident-friendly and sustainable. Every day we help light up hundreds of villages and power businesses and industry. We provide a complete range of solutions for power plants, from concept to commissioning. Our heavy engineering facilities are among the largest and best equipped in the world. They fabricate complex large-size equipment for core industries and provide critical equipment for India's nuclear power plants. We are the only company with the capacity to build an entire nuclear power plant on its own. Nuclear fusion has the potential to replace every other source of energy. Larsen & Toubro is collaborating on a global project to build the world's first thermonuclear reactor in southern France, a potential step towards an abundance of energy that could power the planet for millions of years. Till such time alternative energy sources reach full maturity, hydrocarbons remain the principal source of the world's energy supply. Our presence spans the entire hydrocarbon value chain, from exploration to refining to erecting complete plants. Through products derived from hydrocarbons, we touch your life every day. In a myriad other ways, we are a recurring presence in your life, day after day. Moving you through airports built by us, over bridges, roads and intersections that we have constructed, through state-of-the-art metros that we have built. And as you arrive at your destination, an array of properties await you, built by us to the highest standards. Whether it is the tallest, longest, largest, we at L&T have built it. We apply technology to man's most precious resource, water. Our ability to build a world-class water infrastructure covers all aspects of treatment and conservation, including desalination. Strength is a prerequisite for peace. It has been a mission with us to secure your way of life by helping strengthen the country's defenses. Through intensive investment on research, we developed a system of systems capability, enabling us to build complete weapons platforms, including India's first nuclear submarine, a long-held dream. The Indian Navy looks to us for an entire range of weapon systems, and the land forces for diverse advanced weaponry. Given the trust built over decades of proven performance, we are well positioned to be the leaders in India's defense expansion. We have played our part in India's mission to the moon and its thrust to orbit Mars. For decades, we have made critical aerospace components for the country's space program. Through our technology leadership, we now have the capability to build complete launch systems to place satellites into orbit, opening up limitless possibilities for the future. Technology is pushing from every direction. The future doesn't belong to the faint-hearted. It belongs to the resolute. It belongs to those who strive, who seek, and do not yield. The future belongs to the brave.
Well, I'm Nityanand. I'm an architect basically. So, right, like all of you, I've joined this company. Every time I see this video, it gives me immense pride to stand in front of the crowd. So I take care of health business across pan-India. So this is one of the presentation which I'm going to take you through how we are implementing projects in healthcare. So this is the core topic. The video which I shown is a corporate video, which covers the whole gamut of industrial engineering services which we take in our company. So the road traveled, so if we take up the construction field as such, the road traveled is like this. From the 1990s, we all have heard projects are being taken only on item rate basis. There is no one called design and build contractor. So someone designs the building or the infrastructure, we start executing it. That is a mode of contract what we had in the 90s. And then there came a difference. We made the difference. We pushed projects which can be built on design and build basis. Basically, our engineering team, whole architects and engineers, there's a team called Engineering Design Research Center, which comprises of all designers basically. They sit in our Engineering Design Center at Chennai office. So the entire design for all the projects which we undertake is from that particular office. Around 800 people are sitting there, and in healthcare alone we have around 200 people who dedicatedly work for all our healthcare projects, pan-India. So there we started the design and build projects. In 2000, we started even doing projects along with medical equipment supply, testing and commissioning. So that was one of the dream game which we wanted to start in this business, and we were very, very successful in that. We started doing many projects on design and build basis along with medical equipment. Then we established ourselves as a complete solution provider. It's like from concept to commissioning. The client usually gives us a picture of the site, what they have, and the requirements. It can be a 100-bed hospital or a 1,000-bed hospital. That the requirement they give. We frame the requirements. We give it to the client, get their approvals, and then we started designing and implementing it. That's how the design changed, the scenario changed. And as of now, from 2015, we saw a great push from the central government and the state government itself to implement the projects on design and build basis. That was a great success story, what we can say from our point of view. So in 21, we are seeing many state governments, they started coming with this EPC model. So EPC model as such from CPWD as well as Niti Aayog, they are saying it is divided into 3 parts, basically mode 1, 2 and 3. So these are the ways in which they are letting out some of the projects more than 100 crores. Any projects more than 100 crores from the central government or state government, it's usually pushed through this EPC model. It's called engineering, procurement and construction model. So advantage is that the contractor is the one-point solution provider, so he takes the entire responsibility. So the timeline for the particular job is being handed over to the contractor. So he pushes it hard, uses latest technologies, whatever is available in the field to ensure that he finishes the business within the particular time, and so the government or the private entity gets the benefit. So the return on investment becomes easier or becomes quick when they do adopt this method. Some of the conventional trends, what we all know happening in the industry are these things. The normal formwork, the normal brickwork construction, normal plastering. It involves huge amount of labor. We all know when the COVID came and how these labor started migrating from the particular sites to their own country or the state. So it's a labor intensive industry, I can say, the construction industry. We cannot just like that ignore the workmen who are contributing to the particular development. So this is how it has been. Even the engineering, you can see it is all being done in CAD previously. At least 10 years before or 5 years before, it is all in CAD. But then, this is the emerging trends. We can say even the hospitals are coming with steel now, composite structural. We were really excited when the government themselves came and told us to do engineering with steel composite structures. So this actually what it does is reduces the amount of construction time. So it speeds up the process because everything the RCC construction, we can say everything has to be done inside. So the RCC pouring has to be done, formwork has to be done. Here in steel, we can do it parallelly outside in a different offsite construction area, yard. We can fabricate all the steel columns, the slabs, bring it to site, assemble and just pour the concrete on top. So it reduces the timeline in a big way. Similarly, modular facades are evolving. We can just frame the modular facades and then do it offsite, bring it and just start assembling it. So this is a new way which is coming into the picture. Drywalls, previously we've not known about the drywalls. We used to do this gypsum walls in the offices, we might have seen. But then now there are a lot of innovations which have come into the drywall systems where even fire rating is taken care. So everybody is pushing for this because it starts reducing your timeline. So does the construction field wants to. So this is one of the picking up or emerging trend, I can say. Gypsum plastering, we all know this wet construction is now getting outdated. People wants to use less water. So this gypsum plaster is a ready-made solution for wet plastering. So it comes in ready-made bags. We have to just mix it and start applying. It reduces the timeline, which comes with properties related to fire even. Modular MEP. I'll just start explaining this in the detailed slides. From the engineering, I'll start. So now we are using building information modeling system. We call it as BIM platform. Instead of the CAD, regular CAD, which is done in 2D, people are now using this platform to see the building virtually in 3D. So it creates a kind of an impression where the engineers themselves can go into the building in all the nook and corners, see how they have designed, see how the interfaces are being done with various services. Hospital itself, if you see, is the most complex building because it has, when you open up the ceiling, the entire ceiling is crowded with HVAC, the AC ducts or your electric lines going hither and there because a lot of medical equipments are there in the hospital. A lot of patients who are there need the medical services through gas pipelines. So these are very intensive buildings where this BIM modeling, that is building information modeling, helps in a large way. So people are moving from 3D, where you are seeing the three-dimensional aspect of a building, to 4D, which involves your timeline. So basically when we give the model to the site, we give Now we start now giving away with timelines. Basically, when we start doing at site, the site team also has a laptop or a pad with them. So then every day they start progress, they monitor the progress. So they keep updating the engineer himself or create an request for information. If there is any issues or challenge, they start putting up directly, and then it comes over internet to the particular designer, and he starts resolving it online. So this is quite an interactive platform where we are doing this. And 5D is the next stage where we are trying to plug in the cost. So this is the emerging platform, we can say. It's very useful in the industry. There's a new trend which is coming up, particularly in Assam, where we started building the cancer care hospitals. It is called National Disaster Management Authority, a particular authority which gives guidelines for designing buildings in seismic zones. Basically, Assam is highly seismic zone. In such seismic zones, when an emergency strikes, the most sought out building is a hospital. So the hospital has to function absolutely with no interference. So the entire system has to function. So we started designing the building with respect to these codes, wherein they either subscribe the RC part, which has to be more to take care of the shear strength or during the seismic interference, or there is a solution which comes into the base isolator. So this actually isolates the entire superstructure from the base. So when we have an earthquake, the superstructure remains intact. So that is the purpose of this particular technology. So we started implementing this, and we are doing a lot of projects with this new technology. It's quite interesting. Being an architect, I myself feel very interesting to see this kind of technologies coming into the picture. Then these composite structural steel, as I told you, it reduces the project timeline to really 20%. So there gains the importance of this structural steel. Of course, the cost of it is slightly more, so definitely from the RCC option. Drywall systems, which we have implemented in the Tata Cancer Centers, which we are doing in Assam. Many of the interiors have been done using drywalls, so it looks fabulous. It doesn't differentiate itself from a normal brick wall or brick masonry. Gypsum plaster, as I told you, they are coming even with fire retardant properties, so it can be used extensively in all the buildings. Prefabricated toilet pots, this is one new technology which is coming up. So the entire toilet pots, if it is coming in a multiple of, or you can say in a hospital, if there's a private ward, which is like 20 or 40 numbers, these toilets can be made outside in a factory, assembled with the entire sanitary fixture and the pipelines, just brought in containers and then assembled in the particular area. So this reduces the wet activities in the site and gives a lot of edge over the timelines. The pre-modular facades, this also is gaining importance. In many of the airports now we are doing with modular facades. Hospitals, even glazing part, we are trying out with unitized glazing, so that everything is done in factory and then assembled at site, reduces basically the timelines. Precast staircase, in many of the sites we might see this staircases activity is being taken up as last one. Basically, we wanted to eradicate this because many of the laborers or the workmen who want to move up the superstructure are using the temporary staircase. We wanted to avoid it and started doing these precast staircases. These can be done outside the site, brought in containers and assembled initially itself. The core is completed, so everyone can move through it very safely. So this is one of the thing which is giving us an edge in the construction industry. MEP, modular MEP is one thing which is actually picking ground. We have started implementing, we have not been very successful because many of the clients are picking up this model, so we need to propagate more and then do this activity. This we have developed certainly now. What we do is, instead of the slab is finished and then we start laying these ducts or your pipes or your fire pipes, everything, we start doing the entire thing on ground. It is not done at high, it is done at eye level. So everything is done in modular areas and then it is taken to the particular site, just taken up and hanged and bolted. So this resolves, and only thing we need to do is every 6 meter or 10 meter module, we need to just connect it using the nuts and bolts. So this finishes off the business in a very quick tenure. So this is the cradle system which we call as a MEP, so which we do at ground level and then take it up at the higher levels. Another concept which is gaining grounds is the net zero energy buildings. This is picking up across the industry now because everyone wants carbon neutral buildings, carbon neutral states or countries in them. So this net zero energy concept is also picking up. India stands somewhere 3 in terms of the carbon emissions, CO2 emissions, but then in terms of per capita carbon emissions, we can say we are nowhere. A lot of countries, we have large population, but with respect to the population, if we see, we are nowhere, but still, government is very anxious to implement this net zero energy building. So in hospitals also we are trying nowadays. We have 2 certifications which has come into existence. One is called Net Zero Energy Building, Indian Green Building Council, which has certain rules for implementing net zero energy buildings. They give certificates for it, and then you get benefit as a private customer or a government. You get benefit of the carbon deposition. And in terms of US Green Building Council also, there are certain norms which are being implemented, and these are also giving us edge. Leaving aside the emerging technologies, what are the future emerging technologies, I can say futuristic? So these are some of the things. Your glass is going to be completely replaced with transparent aluminum. So this is being experimented in the foreign nations nowadays. We are trying to get in touch with them. These are very hard material, similar to glass, have the same properties, but then they don't break, and light in weight. So these are going to replace your glass in many ways. Then you see reactive temperature tiles. These are tiles which have no color. They come in black or in some other color. But when you start using them, or maybe in this case, what we saw is when we started using the hot water from the shower, the color changes. It gives a color of peacock or something like that. So it's a different thing. It depends on the architect who is going to use it. So these are again new technologies. Smart roads as such, these are smart grids which are developed in the roads itself. So every time the vehicle passes, the energy is transformed from the road to the grids, and then it's taken off. So these are new technologies which are going to come up. Self-healing concrete is another one. We see many of the concretes when we pour, there are cracks which are appearing. It's called temperature cracks. These self-healing concrete compounds which are used can just heal themselves. Basically, it's like self-healing concrete. So they heal themselves and close up the gaps. And robots and drones are being extensively started using. So robots are now used in demolition. Robots are used in even construction. We have started using robots for laying bricks as well as laying the floors or plastering. But then there are robots which are also coming up to lay even your false ceiling tiles. So everything is going to be robotic nowadays. So the ultimate aim is to reduce your human labors and then start using these new technologies actually to bring down the timelines and also preserve the resources. In healthcare, we are seeing these trends which are coming up. Basically, when all the hospitals or many of the areas, many of the states we have seen, there are old hospitals which are actually in the dilapidating stage. So there's coming a concept called redevelopment. So instead of doing a greenfield job where you take a fresh site and then start doing things, this is called redevelopment, where we get inside, break the buildings, ensure that the hospital is functioning. It is like operating on a live patient, giving a local anesthesia. We've started this concept, actually the Bihar government started this concept. Now we are doing a largest hospital in India, basically. It's a 5,500 bed hospital, which is taken up by us last year, so it is going on. So this is the concept which I wanted to explain it to you. Thank you.
Can we have another round of applause for Mr. Bhutalingam here on stage? Now, as a token of appreciation, we would like to felicitate our distinguished guest. May I request Shri Ashok Puranik, sir, to kindly do the honors. Can we round of applause here, please. Ashok sir, I would kindly request you to stay on stage for the next session.
We'll be starting with the second panel discussion of the day. We would be discussing on the role of higher educational institutions in the industry 4.0 to 5.0 age. Higher educational institutions have a major role to play in showing the way to solve local problems with scientific solutions. Scientific knowledge bereft of a social benefit is of no use. And universities and premier institutes have a great responsibility. The Northeast has institutions of repute and knowledge exchange from across the country to develop the Northeastern region would pave the way for faster growth. Developing an entrepreneurial ecosystem in the universities is the need of the hour, especially in the Northeastern region.
For this panel, we have with us Shri Ashok Puranik sir, AIMS Director, Guwahati, Shri Shrikant Singha, CEO, Task, Shri Lalit Sharma, Director, Indian Institute of Entrepreneurship, Guwahati, Professor Iftikhar Hussain, Dean, School of Technology, Northeastern Hill University, Shri Arjun Singh, Senior Manager, Handicrafts and Carpet Sector Skill Council, Professor Sojan Lal, Principal, MBITS, Kerala.
We request Shri Ashok Puranik sir, Shri Shrikant Sinha sir, Shri Lalit Sharma, Professor Muhammad Iftikhar Hussain sir, Shri Arjun Singh, and Professor Sojan Lal.
We would
to be on
also
the
like to
stage.
request VC Tejpur University Professor Thruma Kapar Bhattacharya to be on stage. So sorry for the confusion. Can we have a round of applause for all the distinguished speakers here on stage? Shri Ashok Puranik, AIMS Director, would be moderating the session.
All right. Okay, that's fine. I think I'll begin with introducing myself. This is my fourth tenure in the Northeast. I worked for Army for very long years, 32 years, as a trauma surgeon. In 2016, I retired from Army, and then I joined AIMS Jodhpur as a professor of surgery and trauma. I come from the field of managing acutely injured and acute surgery. I was trained in Australia for my trauma training. I went abroad for upskilling myself. That's the story about me. And just 6 months back, I took over as the director of AIMS with the vision that this Northeast certainly needs a lot of gaps to be filled up in the healthcare delivery, especially making safe doctors, giving a safe clinical care, and inculcating the kind of research which this country particularly needs. We are at the moment running OPD and not the IPD services, which soon it will be start in 3 and 4 months' time. But soon we'll get over there also. The topic for today's discussion is role of higher educational institution in the industry. 4.0 to 5.0 age. And the first topic we'll be discussing is how research and innovation leapfrogged in past few years. I think 10 years back, nobody was talking about the research methodology, the teaching methodology. I think everything has got a methodology now. Everything has got a protocol now. Everything is evidence-based. Everything is, has to be scientifically proven and then adapted. So the research takes a prime importance, and I'm happy that last 10 years, even if I talk to any arts student about the statistics, they know the basics. If I talk to a psychologist, they know the whole research methodology system, that how the question and the hypothesis is tested, how the data is collected, how analysis is done, and how one reaches to the conclusion, and everybody is into the publishing into the papers. And our Article 51, today is the Science Day, the global science and global well-being. That's the motto of this particular Science Day. And our Constitution, Article 51, says that it becomes our fundamental duty of every citizen to promote the scientific temper and spread the spirit of humanism, and also spread about the wisdom to each and everyone. So everybody has to get into a kind of, don't just accept everything like that. You need to ask why is like that. So you ought to have a scientific temper in your daily approach. That's what the message is today. So the research takes an important in this particular era. So I will ask Mr. Srikant Sinha, CEO, TASK. Sir, what's your view on this? Yeah, you can come on that dais, sir. Yeah, the stage is yours. Yeah.
Okay. A very good afternoon to all of you. Or I should say, Kene Khwa, Moi Srikant. I used to be traveling to Assam long ago. 1990s, early 89, 90s, I used to be visiting Assam quite a lot, and I used to be part of organizations. I used to be training Oil India, Indian Oils. I've been to Duliajan, Dibrugarh, etc., etc. And today when I came to Guwahati, after 92, there's a sea change over here. And I think today when we talk about IR 4.0, 5.0, I think first we need to understand what is the whole thing about IR 4.0. Before we move to that, we need to also understand that whenever we spoke about any industrial revolution, till Industrial Revolution 3.0, or even, was one single technology that was impacting. Steam engine, internet, etc., etc. When we had IR 4.0, the complete thing changed, where we started talking about multiple technologies working together to make an impact. Right? So some of you might be thinking, well, if that is how things are going, and those technologies are already here. We are talking about high-speed internet, 5G. We are talking about artificial intelligence, machine learning. I'm sure all of you would have heard about ChatGPT, etc. Right? Conversational AI, generative AI, etc. And it has been moving in that direction itself. If we talk about Internet of Things, moving further from Internet of Things, now you have IIoT, which is Industrial Internet of Things. And that's how directions have been changing. But where will it stop? What will happen? And my view is, things are going to be here, whether we like it or not. Things will change. It will move from IR 4.0 to 5.0. And the basic difference between IR 4.0 and 5.0 is only one thing: coexistence, right? When we talk about 5.0, it'll be humans and robots existing together, working together. IR 4.0 is bringing in efficiency, optimization. It is putting all technologies working together. Today, if you look at it, and I take a very, very simple example. Any automobile engineers here or people who are doing automobile engineering? Anyone over here? Can I see a show of hands, please? No one. Okay. Well, if you were an automobile engineer today, right, you would have gone through what we call as the ICE engine, internal combustion engine, right? But if you open any boot of, the bonnet of any car, you will see that you don't have a combustion engine there. It is all multi-fuel point injection, MPFI. But our institutions are not teaching that. And tomorrow when we talk about IR 4.0 and 5.0, the curriculum will completely change. So let's see, what does an automobile engineer need to know in the future, right? The first time a moving vehicle would not have too many moving parts, right? It'll be software driven. So of course the person needs to know AI, ML, software, programming. That is one part of it. The second thing the person needs to know is more in terms of course, a little bit mechanics, etc. Also, mechanical engineering concepts also need to be known by him, because you have a powertrain. Instead of an engine and everything else, you have a powertrain. Instead of your complete, ICE, you would have now fuel cells or batteries. So person needs to understand chemistry also, right? And when you move ahead, he also needs to understand one more thing, because tomorrow if you are going in the evening along with your family to your favorite restaurant, anyone can hack your car audio system and listen to where you are going, right? And that is how things would happen in the future. When we talk about 5G coming in, we are talking about fleet learning, which means one autonomous car communicates with other autonomous car to understand how to drive. But if a hacker wants to break it, right, he can hack the system and all cars will come to a stall. So imagine that an automobile engineer also needs to understand cybersecurity. And that is how things are moving. And this is not only, I've just taken the case of one example of automobile engineering, but if you look at it, everything is moving in that direction itself. Be it space technology, be it chemical, you talk about anything. I think what is most important, and for researchers to understand also, that it's high time we let go of academic research. We need to move towards industrial research. As far as skills, etc. is concerned, earlier we used to have a T model, right? So you used to know a lot of things, but you used to deep dive and have extreme good knowledge in one particular segment, or it was a T-shaped model. This kind of a model it used to be. Now it's a pie-shaped model, where you know a lot of things, but two things that you need to know is, of course, your own expertise area, but along with that, AI, ML, and emerging technologies. And that is where things are moving. So what I would like to talk about is, yes, research needs to be done, but as of yesterday, we need to include all these latest technologies, all these latest things into our curriculum. We need to also ensure that we bring in, see, this standpoint that I come from is very, very simple. For good music, you need musicians, right? People who are skilled in certain areas. But for producing good music, you also need Beethoven's and Bach, etc. People who are research-oriented, people who have gone into that direction and created those research. But the research should be something which can be implemented into the industry itself. I hope that answers the question, sir.
Thank you, Srikanth, sir.
Thank you.
Due to paucity of time, we'll move forward with Professor D.K. Bhattacharya. Your opinion on this, how research and innovation leapfrogged in past few years. You have 5 minutes.
Thank you. Esteemed dignitaries, and ladies and gentlemen, my dear student friends, I am Professor D.K. Bhattacharya, Vice Chancellor at Tezpur University. So, in the recent past, of course, this research and technology-led innovation have made significant strides and in advancement in technology communications, access to data, and these developments have facilitated new discoveries, products, and services that have impacted the society positively and towards the development of a sustainable India. So mainly I'm in the 11 areas which I can highlight that where the technology-led innovation has made a significant progress. One is, of course, in the advancement in healthcare. The advances in medical technology, such as genomics, nanotechnology, and AI/ML have led to development of a lot of diagnostic tools, techniques, and drugs, and advances in these high-quality data capturing services and imaging technology and compute-intensive data analytics have made a significant progress in detecting the diseases at an early stage, and while telemedicine also have made the healthcare more accessible to the people. And the collaboration among the researchers and healthcare provider industries and as well as the government have led to a more integrated, sustained and coordinated high-precision approach for the healthcare sector. Then advancement in renewable energy, this is another one evolving area where a lot of research have been done, and the growth of this research have made, significant progress in developing the new and innovative ways for capturing, storing, and using the renewable energy. And solar panels now have become more efficient, cost-effective, and battery technology has advanced, making it possible to store, use energy from the renewable sources. Also, this wind energies case also you can see the turbine design technology have made it possible to generate more electricity from wind. Similarly, in robotics and automation, this is another one sector where the advances in technology, including artificial intelligence and machine learning, enable the developer more sophisticated and sustainable and high-precision robotics and automated systems. And collaboration among researchers, industry partner, and government has increased, allowing for more effective development and implementation of robotic and automation technology. The biotechnology is another one field where we can see the growth of research and innovation has led to the significant advancement in medicine, agriculture, and environmental sustainability. And recent advancement in biotechnology have led to the development of new innovative methods, understanding and manipulating the biological system, development of new drugs, medicine, and therapies, as well as the new methods for producing food and biofuel. In nanotechnology, where advancement have enabling the development of more efficient and powerful electronic devices, as well as the new material with unique properties. In medicine also, this nanotechnology is being used to develop the new drug delivery system and diagnostic tools. Similarly, in cybersecurity, I'm a man of computer science and specialization in cybersecurity. I can say that advances of AI and ML is enabling the better detection prevention of the cyber attacks, while innovation in encryption technology also made it harder. And similarly, the blockchain technology is being used to improve the cybersecurity by providing a decentralized, cost-effective, and sustainable solutions for the secure storage and sharing of the confidential data. Then in quantum computing also, that innovation in quantum computing and quantum communications are enabling new methods for detecting and transmitting information with the unprecedented precisions. Then in agriculture technology, we have seen that precision agriculture involves the use of the sensors, drones, and other technology to collect data on the moisture, nutrient levels, and other factors to optimize the crop growth and its yield. Then in financial technology, fintech has revolutionized the way we access and manage our finances with innovations such as mobile payments, robo-advisors, and the blockchain technology. And in digital forensic also, the machine learning algorithms are used to analyze voluminous data and detect the exceptional patterns or anomalies. And in digital forensic, these ML algorithms help to identify the suspicious patterns or the behavior in the digital evidences. In space exploration also, you have seen that the reusable rockets have been made in the space to travel more cost-effective and accessible, while advancement in the space exploration technology have allowed for more extensive and detailed studies to planet and the other celestial bodies. Now, these are the 11 areas that I have just mentioned where advancement have been made in the past 2 decades. Now, every higher education institution, how to be prepared to cope up with, so the students can be prepared so they can handle it. So I have considered here the 6 major steps that every higher education institution will have to take. First, to foster critical thinking and problem-solving skills. We have to encourage the students to think deeply about the complex issues, analyze information, and propose solutions for the real world. Then the second one is to promote multidisciplinary learning. As per the NEP implementation also, we must have the basket of the multidisciplinary courses in addition to the skill-based and value-added courses. Then the encourage participation and engagement. The students should be participatory and engaging and allowing students to take active roles in their learning and encouraging them to apply the knowledge and skills to real-world situation. Then the fourth one is the foster values and state attitude. ESD, Education for Sustainable Development, should promote values such as to respect for the diversity, social responsibility, and a commitment to sustainable development. Then the fifth one is the develop partnership. The ESD should involve collaboration between schools, communities, and other stakeholders to ensure that education is relevant and responsive to the local needs and context.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Can you wrap up the...
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Yes.
So, so I would like to just add a few things. Like sir has said, a lot of new things has come, like AI, robotics, minimal invasive surgery, the nanorobotics, the genetics, the regenerative medicine. I can tell you in 20 years' time, there will be a kind of a laboratory where your all organ could be available. They'll be able to grow. They'll be able to have a kind of tailor-made organs for you. What do you need? That will be prepared, and it will be transplanted on you. So that's the future. Like you have seen, we've been able to make a vaccine in India and able to give to others. So that's our strength. Let's move. The 5G is coming, and 5G is going to make our life a little more faster. And with the AI and all these drones, the whole healthcare delivery is going to change. Our approach to the healthcare is going to be more preventive rather than the curative. We'll have more old age people to deal with, more chronic disease to deal with, but yes, the medicine is also keeping a pace with whatever problems we have in the society. Okay, so let's move forward. There is another topic for discussion today, role of universities in generating local employment and mitigating local problems. We have two eminent speakers on this. Professor Lalit Sharma and Professor Sojanla will be aiding further. So first I will invite Lalit Sharma. You can introduce yourself and you can cover this topic in 5 minutes.
A very good afternoon to all the dignitaries on the dais and all the students, teaching fraternity present over here in the hall. A very important topic has been put forward, the role of higher educational institutions. You see, we are trying to understand the role of higher educational institutions in terms of the outcome they are able to produce in terms of entrepreneurs that they have developed, jobs that they have created, research that they have done. See, I would first of all like to talk upon the role of higher educational institutions in developing entrepreneurs and entrepreneurship, what we are doing, what we are not doing. And in order to stress further on this, I would like to just give you a few highlights. You see, very recently last year, Government of India did a startup ranking of all the states in terms of how much startups have been developed. And if I talk about Assam, we were in the category of leaders. So the first category was top performers, wherein there were only 2 states, Gujarat and Karnataka. Next, there were top performers. And third, there were leaders. So we were in the category of leaders, which means we still need to go much higher. I'm talking in context of Assam. Today we have got some 850 odd startups from Assam as per DPI report. And the top performer, Gujarat, that we are talking, it has got some 8,500 startups. We really need to look into it. What is it that Gujarat is doing? What is it that we are probably not doing? Today, in terms of incubation centers, see, in Assam we have got some 16 or 18 incubation centers functional. In Gujarat, there are 180 plus. There are very few fabrication labs over here in the institutions. There are very few tinkering labs in the schools, which are today considered to be one of the very important component in any educational institutions for developing entrepreneurs. If I talk about the last Assam startup policy, which came in 2017, it gave a lot of guidelines to educational institutions that we want to have more MOOCs. We would like them to revise their curriculums, make it more entrepreneurship oriented, develop more incubation centers. These were guidelines given to the educational institutions without any backup. Similar kind of guidelines were given to educational institutions in Gujarat as well, but then they were also given backing up in terms of financial incentives, which ranged from 40 lakh to 5 crore. And a separate fund was given to this particular purpose by the state government, in order to strengthen institutions, in order to make them more capable. So today, what I think we really need to do is, you see, we cannot just give guidelines in terms of development of these institutions, strengthening of these institutions, or if we are looking forward to coming out with more and more student startups. We would like that we strengthen our institutions, not just with guidelines, but also with some institutional backing, some financial backing. There's one scheme which I would particularly like to talk about, Student Startup Innovation Policy, which was implemented in Gujarat. You see, in this particular policy, the state government has asked for a contributory role of the education institutions, wherein they want education institutions also to give 50% of investment and 50% is given by the state governments. To universities, since the number of students are very high, the amount of financial backing is also very high. It goes up to as high as 5 crore rupees. So that, you see, students are supported not just with the education, but also with training, which is very particular to entrepreneurship. Also with regard to seed funding, which students definitely need. You see, if we are looking forward to student entrepreneurship, please, we will have to understand their requirements.
Could you wrap up with Professor
Yeah,
Lalit?
just a last minute.
Okay.
So since, I mean, students are also here, institutions are here, state government is also here. You see, I think this is just a suggestion which I would like to place, that we would like to have a more strong relationship, more convergence. The more this convergence is, I think, if we could understand each other's problems better, I think that would be much better for us to develop a policy which can be helpful to the state in a larger way. Thank you so much.
University of Grant Commission, Indian Council of Medical Research, Department of Science and Technology, they are coming with lot of, they already have introduced kind of a research grant for all the students. So you can visit all these websites of University Grant Commission, ICMR and DSTC, and from there you can pick up your research and you'll be funded also, and that will give you a kind of opportunity to launch yourself. Professor Sojan Lal, who has come from Kerala, he's an engineer by profession, and MIBAT is his institute. He'll be also talking on the same topic on universities in generating local employment and mitigating local problems.
Good afternoon to all of you. Let me, first of all, thank you for inviting me over here. Let me introduce myself. I am Dr. Sojan Lal, did my engineering in mechanical, and also I did a master's and PhD in computer science. I worked in Indian Alumni for 1.5 years, Then almost 15 years I've been into academics. I also worked in oil and gas industry in 3 different sectors: maintenance, IT, as well as business planning. That's my brief of qualifications. And I'm also into the research into computer science, as well as into the safety engineering also. Once again, good afternoon to particularly to all my dear students. Let me ask you a question. How many of you would like to get an employment? Please raise your hands. Any employment, please raise your hands. And how many of you want your own business? And what others are doing? Okay, I'll just say a few words, and this is my views. And again, each one of you can derive your own views. To me, if you are very ambitious, you can definitely think of starting your own business. But in reality, sometimes what happens, we hear that many organizations, particularly the startups, are failing because of lack of mentorship, lack of experience and all. So I do suggest that you may initially work in some industry for a period of time, you get the knowledge, experience, then you may go for your own industry or your own startup. So before that, let me introduce 2 more words. One is very familiar to you, one is employability, which everybody is talking about, and you should be employable at the time of graduation or whatever course which you are doing. I'll also introduce another word which is deployable. So employability and deployability is slightly different. You are employable means, I would say that you will be able to start into your career, you can start your way. Whereas when you say that you are deployable, you are into the higher level. Possibly you are hearing about IITs and NITs and the premier institutes, IIMs and all. The students who are coming out from this, they are more into this between employable and deployable. And even the starting salaries I am hearing on the engineering side of even 50 lakhs is annual salary. How do you get to that? And also in the previous days, the speakers, particularly from the NIT Trichy, the madam was mentioning about, and various clubs and functions are there, and so by which there is an outcome of this. Definitely the skills you need to promote, and again, you need to promote various other soft skills also. Your leadership qualities, finance management, team-wise, networking, facing challenges, use of brain left and right, another speaker was mentioning about. These are all the mix of this. And again, to get in the technical aspect of this, so many platforms are available. As we have seen on the previous day, AICT, Microsoft, Google, Infosys, Springboard, ANSYS, there are numerous websites and programs are available where you can upskill yourself and into this. Now the question is, you must have a goal in your mind, you should have a target in your mind, and you start working on this. Let me ask you a small question. How many of you find always difficulty in managing time? Please raise your hands. If you really find difficulty in managing time, please raise your hands. I see a few hands are raised up. And as I am in the academics, I have seen my students, they have been using the mobile phone for 6 to 12 hours per day. There is a setting in your mobile phone. You just closely watch and how you are effectively utilizing your. Now there is Industry 4.0 to 5.0 you are talking about. Like that in education sector, there is Education 4.0 to 5.0. You can't avoid your gadgets, what you have in your hand. Definitely, you need to manage with that. So likewise, in any industry, there is a phase shift should happen. Like in industry, research and all, it's happening. Likewise, here also, there is a phase shift should happen. Now let me introduce one more thing. When you help others, you will also develop your own career. Like if there is an opportunity to serve for, you're all fortunate to be here. Think of the people who are in the villages and other places who are not been in a position to come up to your level. You engage them, you develop them, and again, that will also help you to go together. And I think you have to face today's challenges, and wish you all the best, and thank you very much. Have a wonderful time. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Sojanlal. I would like to take just 1 minute extra. I think after all the skills, there are few skills which need to be ingredient part of you, and that to the respect for and dignity for the fellow human being. You learn to respect fellow human being. I think that's the crux of the thing. Second thing, you ought to be altruistic by nature. You ought to be empathetic. You ought to be compassionate. Then the society will rise, the society will improve as a whole. And you carry the attitude, carry the passion, carry the communication skills. All those things will follow if you have these two attitudes. Having said that, we have got a paucity of time. Let's move forward for the topic on growth of higher education in Northeast region, rising demand for higher education in Northeast region, and this will be covered by Sri Arjun Singh, the Senior Manager Handicrafts, Carpet Sector Skill Council. May I invite Sri Arjun Singh on the dais, please.
So, hello everyone. I am Arjun Singh, Senior Manager Handicrafts and Carpet Sector Skill Council. And before I start, I want to grab attention of my target audience, which is there. Hello? Okay. So, आप लोग ने बैम्बू कितने लोगों ने बनते हुए देखा अपने घर में? बैम्बू से? बिल्कुल. So, I belong to the sector which deals in handicrafts and carpet. So, handicrafts and carpet के बारे में मैं आपको थोड़ा सा बताऊंगा ताकि आप लोग ये समझ सकें कि if you want to become an entrepreneur or if you want to make some career in handicrafts and carpet sector, तो वो आप कैसे कर सकते हैं. तो उसके पहले आपको थोड़ा सा अट्रैक्टिव बनाने के लिए सेक्टर को मैं बताऊंगा कि what are the actual export figures क्या हैं और कितना एक्सपोर्ट होता है. So, in the year 2020-2021, about 33,000 crore rupees of handicrafts products were exported. Secondly, similarly, carpet में 16,000 crore रुपए का जो carpet है from India has been exported. So, if you see this sector, whatever handmade products that are produced in India, 60 to 65% of the product are being exported. Similarly, again, if we talk about carpet sector, 90% of the carpet are being exported, whatever they are produced in India. So, if you see the sector in terms of money, in terms of export orientation, obviously this sector is, export oriented sector. So, if you want to become an entrepreneur, obviously you will be dealing in the world market. अभी हम जब बात करते हैं अगर कि आप लोगों को इंक्लाइन करना है आपके अटेंशन को टुवर्ड्स हैंडीक्राफ्ट्स एंड कारपेट सेक्टर, तो इट बिकम्स ईजियर बिकॉज यू हैव बिकॉज इन आवर सेक्टर स्काई इज द लिमिट. सो why we urge students and the college going people to make their career in this handicrafts and carpet sector is because we have two motives. One, obviously you can make your career as an entrepreneur. Secondly, जो craft हैं, these crafts are somehow we are unable to revive these craft. If we talk about Namda in Kashmir, if we talk about obviously bamboo in Assam and other northeastern states, or if we talk about terracotta products, if we talk about metal handicrafts, jhapi if you see on both the sides made bamboo से बनता है. So these are the crafts which are dying somehow. Why? Because it has been limited to the rural parts of the country. We need to bring this craft to the urban population. Obviously, urban में जो people who are there, industry, those are industry members. These are no one but the exporters who are exporting the handmade products, taking the products from the rural artisans and subsequently exporting it to the world market. तो हमारी 5 जो countries हैं जो कि abundantly हमारे Indian made handmade carpets और handicraft products को लेती हैं, these are UK, US, Japan, UAE and France. So अगर ये यूथ इस तरह से इस हैंडीक्राफ्ट्स एंड कारपेट सेक्टर में आएगा तो 2 तरीके से फ़ायदा होगा. एक तो हमारा यूथ विल गो टुवर्ड एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप बिल्डिंग. सेकेंडली, वी विल बी एबल टू कीप आवर ट्रेडिशनल एंड हेरिटेज क्राफ्ट्स अलाइव.
Thank you, Arjun Singh ji, because you know what he's trying to tell, that this is another sector which is unventured. As a entrepreneur, as a student, you can always think about adapting this because there is so much of rising demand of handicrafts abroad. He's already given you the figures. I think people do not really think about all this bamboo arts and metal arts and handicrafts. Please do adopt this technology, learn this. adopt this and you can be an entrepreneur. We are moving towards our last topic of discussion, that is entrepreneurial ecosystem. Professor Mohammad Iftikhar Hussain, who is the Dean School of Technology of North Hill University, Nehu, he'll be speaking about entrepreneurial ecosystem. Sir, you have 5 minutes.
Good afternoon. Innovation culture is very important for the growth of any country. India is progressing gradually, but innovation culture cannot be started all of a sudden. Overnight it is not possible. So there is a culture, we can change it, we can accelerate it by manipulating or by pushing up some factors. So the factors in inculcating this innovative culture mainly depends on the population size, the type of population what we have, the education system of the country, and the government's focus towards this innovation culture, how they develop. So even after this, we need to give some sort of freedom, like there should be some strong leadership, there should be autonomy, there should be collaboration, then only we can have a good innovative culture. So if we look at this India's ranking in today's time, this Global Innovation Index, it is in 2022, the India's rank was 40th. So it is gradually improving. In the last year, it was 46th. In 2015, it was 81st. So we can say that it is gradually improving, but we are way behind some many other countries. Switzerland was the first one, in fact. So one thing probably which is notable is that R&D spending, research and development spending, is less than 1% of the GDP, so which is far more for other countries, so which could be improved. So when we talk about this industry 4.0 to 5.0, what are the changes we look forward? So basically, in one word, we can say that the change paradigm shift is from welfare to well-being. So initially, this industry 4.0 was all about digitization and automation. Now, how these industries can help us, the technology can be used directly for human being. Many technologies have been talked about by previous speakers, that basically when we talk about well-being, like healthcare, Professor Dhruv Bhattacharya sir has talked about. The network paradigm is changing a lot from 5G. In fact, people are going towards 6G. The delay component will be very, very less. It will be in microsecond. So about 200 microsecond, almost real-time communication will be possible. So like I have come from Shillong to interact with you. Probably I should have stayed there in Shillong and I could have interacted, and you would have seen me just like how you are seeing me now. So this is holoportation. That means there will be multiple three-dimensional cameras around me, and this snaps will be taken, and these will be sent real time to here, and just like me, three-dimensional or multi-dimensional figures can be made, and from there you would have seen just what you are seeing right now. So in addition to that, in next generation, like digital twin is going to be one of the important technologies. It is a virtualization of many things, like particularly in service sector it is being used. In case of Internet of Things, it is greatly used. The industrial floor is using robots in many extent. So in robot also, this network technologies will play a great role. So everything will be automized. In addition to that, AR, VR, then the network is going to be customized, that you will not feel that there is a network around, and everywhere there will be a presence of network, omnipresent communication, right? Ubiquitous computing will be all around. So for that, different technologies are coming up, like microstrip antennas are there, the reflected surface, IRS is also there. So and so on. So many technologies are coming up slowly. And for innovation, the efforts which have been made in today's time, particularly NEP, the National Education Policy 2020, has made a lot of sense in the education paradigm. It has flexible, holistic, and multidisciplinary. It promotes the culture of innovation and skill. So in universities also, the government of India in particular is doing a lot of things like research and development centers, design and innovation centers, skill development centers, and so on and so forth. So this Auto Incubation Center is there, which is actually meant for this business. So those things can be probably the people can take the advantage of.
Thank you, Prof. Could you wrap up your talk, please?
Okay. So in short, so what I feel is that to inculcate an innovative culture and to develop skill, so we need to do few things. As I already mentioned, this population should be educated nicely. That education system and government can play a great role. So here, for innovation culture, we should use the facilities available, and the industry and academia should meet together. They should interact together. The industry should give input that what kind of products they want, so that they become employable. So frequent interaction between the academia and industry is very important, as well as the successful entrepreneurs. So they should come forward probably among the people. So probably what I feel is that there are different schemes from governments. Government is trying to make an innovation culture, but probably those are not reaching to the people. So people, industry, academia, and government, they should work together. So we have a lot of scopes, particularly in case of Northeast, like Shillong can be a good hub for IT. So given the climatic situations there in Meghalaya, so it is a very good option. As already mentioned by one of the previous speakers, this bamboo is a real good opportunity for Assam and Northeast.
Thank you,
so
Prof.
Similarly, there are a lot of scopes, so we can cash on. Thank you.
Thank you, Prof. So, okay, guys. So, you know what information or the message we are trying to give you, that the education is very important. The research has become a very, very important in today's time. Upskilling, you know, you have to be with the time. I met a duo, father and son, yesterday, and they were selling, they were working for those cardiac, you know, the cardiac intervention machines. And I said, how come you landed into this business? And I see the father and son together selling the equipment. They said in 1992, this intervention cardiology, all this angiography came in, and he had a visionary thought, you know, that this is the sector which is going to be in demand in next 30, 40 years, or maybe for a longer time. And this is the area where need to be ventured. What I'm trying to tell you, that you need to keep an eye that where the future belongs. What are the things which futuristic, like working in AI, working in data management, cloud management, robotics, all these fields are upcoming, so research is a very integral part of it. I sincerely thank the IndiGlobal organizers for inviting us over here, and all the thanks to the speaker, Mr. Srikant Sinha, Sri Lalit Sharma, Professor Mohammad Iftikhar Hussain, Sri Arjun Singh Ji, and Professor Sojan Lal. I'm really indebted that this stage was given to address such a huge amount of people present over here. I can tell you I'm not a good speaker. It takes a very difficult, heavy feat from that chair to over here. Thank you very much. God bless you.
I would like to extend my heartfelt gratitude to all the speakers for such an insightful session. Can we have another round of applause for all the speakers on stage, please? Now, as a token of appreciation, we would like to felicitate our distinguished guests with a memento and a traditional gamusa. May I request Dr. Kalyan Chakravarti sir to kindly do the honors. Can we have a round of applause for Sri Ashok Puranik, AIMS Director, Guwahati. Sri Srikant Sinha, CEO, Task. Shri Shrikant Sinha, CEO Task. Professor Dhruva Kumar Bhattacharya, Vice Chancellor, Tejpur University. Shri Lalit Sharma, Director, Indian Institute of Entrepreneurship. Shri Arjun Sen, Senior Manager, Handicrafts and Carpet Sector Skill Council. Can we have a round of applause for all the distinguished speakers? Professor Sojan Lal, Principal, MBITS, Kerala. Shri Arjun Singh, Senior Manager, Handicrafts and Carpet Sector Skill Council. May I request all our distinguished speakers to kindly come for a group picture. Sir, we would like to request you to stay for a group picture.
Thank you so much. Our heartfelt gratitude to all the speakers, our Principal Secretary, Sir Dr. B. Kalyan Chakrabarty, sir, for facilitating them. And also, I would like to request everyone, we'll be stopping here for lunch now. So it's 1:30. I request all the students, dignitaries and speakers to please get back to this hall again at sharp 2 so that we can have our another session. I would also like to inform the students that we have our valedictory session to be started at 4:15 sharp. Our Honorable Minister of Education, Dr. Ronos Pegu sir, will be the chief guest for the event. I request everyone to be on time, not to waste time, and to please be on the hall again for our next sessions. We'll be starting our sessions post-lunch at 2 p.m. sharp. Thank you so much. We'll break for lunch now, and we'll again assemble at 2 p.m. for the rest of the sessions. As Principal Secretary sir has said, we have very important session of Arsana Burma Madam post-lunch. That will be a very important session for us, for the students and the speakers as well. So I request everyone to please assemble again at the hall at sharp 2 p.m. The students will have their lunch and the shamiana beside the pond, and VIP lounge is just outside the hall of this auditorium. I request everyone. Thanks for the first sessions. We'll be seeing you after the lunch. Thank you so much.